Right, baie welkom aan almal vanoggend. Ons het gister 'n fantastiese dag gehad hierso. En weer eens baie dankie aan die motorklub wat ons genooi het om weer eens deel te neem met 'n lang tradisie wat ons reeds het. So baie dankie vir daai uitnodiging. So reg, ons gaan begin. Eerste gaan ons die passie van ons klub gaan ons ook vir julle wys. En baie dankie verlede jaar, jaar voor verlede jaar, wonderlike fondse ingesamel vir die kanker. En hierdie trekkertjie is spesifiek vir ons spesiaal wanneer dit kom by die fight, soos is in memory of those who lost their fight against cancer. So ek gaan vir Leon Du Plessis om net vir ons so 'n bietjie die agtergrond van die trekker te gee.
Goeiemôre. Die trekker is eintlik gebou deur Marius Stadder. Sy pa wat ons geken het hierso in George wat gras gesny het en ouens se erwe bewerk het met 'n soortgelyke trekker gedoen. In 2016 is sy oom dood aan kanker. Toe hy besluit hy gaan vir hom so 'n trekkertjie bou soortgelyk aan sy pa. Jy sal agterkom hierse kom kleure. Maar elke kleur is die verskillende kankers wat jy kan kry. So almal is hier op. Somewhere sit almal. In 2018 het ons met die trekkie tot in rivier sonder end gery. 5 van ons, twee in Mosselbaai omgedraai en ons het R35.000 ingeskakel vir kanker. 3 van ons het verder gery, 3 dae later het ons daar opgeëindig sonder enige probleme langs die pad. En dis waar hy trekkie gebore was en ondersteun dit asseblief.
En baie dankie en wat Leon na verwys is hierso teen die kant prostaatkanker, niertjies, longkanker, pankreas, breinkanker, borskanker en melanoma. So dit is vir ons 'n baie groot passie en baie dankie dat elke keer wanneer ons in die jaarlikse skouvergaderings beginne sit, dan word daar gevra waar is die pink trekker, gaan hy weer eens daar wees. So dis 'n tradisie by ons wat baie ondersteuning geniet van almal. Baie dankie. Dit gebeur ook met 'n trekker. Kijk, toe ons aan hom raak, toe start die starter om. Baie dankie, hierso is Ernest met sy seun en soos wat ek gister ook gesê het, baie van ons word groot geword op trekkers. Ons eerste stuurwiel wat ons vasgehou het is 'n trekker en ons kan nooit verstaan hoe moet mense leer om te bestuur nie. Want ons het so uit die moeder skoot, het ons agter die trekker se stuurwiel beland. Een van ons klaplede het gister gesê van hoe sy pa hom in 'n kussie onder die sleepwa gesit het in die land toe hy nog 'n paar babatjie was. So dit is hoe ons groot word en hier kan jy sien hoe Ernest vir die seentjie van hom leer hoe om 'n trekker te kan bestuur. Kyk net daar so, daar gaat hulle, baie dankie Ernest, dankie man. Volgende een wat ons het is vir Juan de Blans met Faliapi. Nou ja, as jy in Suid-Afrika rondbeweeg, ek dink daar het seker 'n paar miljoen van hulle ingekom, want om elke hoek en draai is daar 'n Faliapi. En hy het 'n besondere liefde vir hom. En wat ons hierso demonstreer van deur Juan, is die gebruik van 'n implement saam met die trekker. Jy kan self sien dat hierdie skop is baie klein, so jy kan dink is maar net 'n paar grawe wat in hom ingelaai kan word op 'n slag. Maar hy sleep hom gou vir ons eers so eentjie. Dis die sleepaksie, hy is nou so gestel dat hy nie die grond gaan skep nie, maar en dan tip jy hom net vir die deel van die demonstrasie het ons dit nou net so 'n bietjie so verander. Maar baie dankie Roan hoor. Hier sit ons met een van ons ou getroue klap manne met 'n kap. Vertel ons.
Dis 'n trekker.
As jy vir hom sien in die skouterrein, vra vir hom die grap van die dominee se vrou, die polisieman ensovoorts. Van die môre storie. Dit kan hy baie meer verduidelik as die trekker. Ons het dan hierso Gerard se broer Johan later gaan met hierdie famel wat baie goed gister ook uitgekom het is toe Kobus Groenewald gepraat het oor die restaureringproses. En jy sien dit hier by die by die karre, by die motors, by die bakkies sien jy dit dat hy is soos hy van sy mamma afkom. So dit is sy oorspronklike klere wat nou deur die jare verbleik is soos wat hy gewerk is en 'n besondere trekker die Formule M. As jy nou aan hierdie kant van die trekker kyk, hy het hierso netto was verwys na die gebruik van hulle brandstof. So met ander woorde, hy het die een vir die petrol waarmee hy staar, dan word hy tydjie gegee om lekker warm te loop. En daarna skakel jy hom oor na kragparafien en ek sal net weer 'n bietjie praat oor die kragparafien. Maar baie bekende trekker in die Suid-Kaap wat op baie lande hierso gewerk het en geoes het. Dankie Johan. Hierso kom die Fiat, so ons het self iets uit die Italiaanse bloed uit wat hierso by ons is en Frank is die eienaar van Frank Robertson is die eienaar en Frank het ook gister weer vir ons gesê dit was die eerste 650 wat in die Suid-Kaap ingekom het wat hier op lande gewerk het hier in die Suid-Kaap. So dit is 'n besondere trekker en jy kan self hier ook sien hierdie trekker is nog steeds soos hy van sy moeder afgekom het. So baie dankie Frank hoor. Ons niet gevonde lid wat in die klap saam met ons is en 'n boer van die omgewing met sy 35 met die 135 amper sê ek met sy 35 want hy kom nog daar agter. Ook 'n besondere trekker. As jy kyk nou aan hierdie spesifieke trekker toe hy hierdie trekker gerestoreer het, dan haal letterlik en figuurlik word hy in stukkies uitmekaar uitgehaal en weer skoon gemaak. En dan teruggebou en dan word hy so by mekaar gesit. So dit is maande se werk wat in is om hom op hierdie standaard te kry. Baie dankie Paul hoor. Kobus Smit met sy Famol. Dis die Famol M met die noukrop. Die vorige een wat jy gesien het is die een met die wye voorwiele. Hulle het hom na hom verwys die noukrop. So die spesifieke trek hier ook en jy sien selfde startproses van die petrol na die kragparafien toe. En dan hierso het hy het 'n distributor nie, hy maak gebruik van 'n magneto. So as iemand wil meer weet oor hoe hierdie magnetos gewerk, dan kom besoek ons daar agter en dan kan 'n volledige verduideliking aan u gegee word hoe. So baie dankie Kobus, baie mooi trekker. Ons jewel van die skou, boonbehalwe die ander mooi trekkers wat ons ook hier het, is Henny Rousseau, half van Langebaan af. Hy kom oorspronklik hier van George af, nou gaan aftrede aan die Langebaan, so ons probeer hom nou, dat hy sy trekker hier vergeet, want hy wil hom net op boontoe vat. So, as jy gaan kyk op die link op die net, op die Suid-Kaap skou, dan sal jy die hele onderhoud sien, van die geskiedenis agter hierdie trekker. Jy sal ook sien dat in spesifiek daar verwys word in die onderhoud na hierdie liggies en hoe hy gesukkel het om die liggies bymekaar te kry weer om hulle reg te maak. En jy kan sien hierdie trekker is absoluut spotless en is in 1957 major wat hier so voor hier is. Pragtige trekker Henny en baie dankie hoor. Dani Smit, hy is die groot enjinman, maar ook 'n groot trekker voertuigliefhebber. Ek wil net graag hê hy moet net vir jou verduidelik waar kom hierdie trekker oorspronklik vandaan. Dani sê vir ons, waar kom hy vandaan?
Dis is kan ek kan dit nie sê nie. Ek het die trekker 30 jaar met hom deur laat staan omdat ek die flywheel laat weggeraak het. En in COVID het ek besluit nee, maar ek kan hom nie weggooi nie, ek moet hom regmaak. Maar dit is ook die enigste John Deere trekker wat in Amerika gebou is wat 'n engine in het wat John Deere nie besit het nie. Hy het 'n 2-silinder 2-stroke diesel in met 'n supercharger.
Baie dankie. En dit is hierdie tipe van joules wat daar in die gemeenskappe lê. En as jy weet van iemand wat daar ergens lê so 'n joule tussen bome en niemand gaan iets doen omtrent, laat ons asseblief weet. Want dit is die produk wat op die einde op die tafel hier voor jou kan wees. Baie dankie Dani, hoor. Hier sê ons vir Pieter Boshoff. Die twee van Dani en Pieter is gewoonlik baie naby aan mekaar. So jy kry die twee nie uit mekaar uit nie. So ons het Pieter op die Ellis Chalmer, die WD45. Jy weet vanoggend toe kom jy 'n oom. Toe sê maar weet jy, het hy meer groot geword. Sy pa het meer as 10 van hulle gehad hier in Oudtshoorn en met hulle 3 skaarploege meegewerk. En Pieter met sy versameling wat hy hier by hom ook het aan die kant die berg van engines en so voort, is 'n groot versamelaar. En dit is die doel van ons as klub om hierdie vir u te wys en vir u te sê maar ons stel belang om dit te bewaar vir die toekoms. Een van die goed wat vanoggend byvoorbeeld deur oom Dani Grinling hier gesê is hierdie trekker het 'n besondere ploeg en ons gaan hom op die landbouskou wat in Augustus gehou word, gaan ons die besondere ploeg gaan ons aan hom heg. Met wat gebeur as jy kan op die trekker sit, jy kan hierdie wiele kan jy beweeg. Deur net hierdie boude hierso los te maak, kan jy sonder dat jy enige effort insit, kan jy hierdie trekker, kan jy sy wiele weier maak. Jy kan op die trekker sit, jy kan jou ploeg wat agter hom staan, kan jy instoot van die trekker. Jy stoot die trekker in op die ploeg en dan haak jy die ploeg outomaties aan die trekker. Dit was die tegnologie wat way back in daai jare gebruik was wat ingekom het. Kom van Amerika af, die Wisconsin fabriek is daar, waar die Ellis Chalmers gemaak het. Hierdie is 'n 1954 model. Baie dankie Pieter. Ja. Ek gaan vir hom Johnny vra om Johnny Verreine, een van ons ou klaplede, nie oud en praat van jare diens in die klap, jy weet. So om Johnny gaan vir ons 'n bietjie 'n verduideliking gee van hierdie trekker.
Môre vriende, ek is nou nie eintlik 'n spreker nie. Ek wil ook nie my slim hou nie. Ek het 33 jaar met Fortune trekkers geboer. En net die model na een uit en na een net so gelyk. Twee van hulle in 1964 het hulle 'n verwaarloosde plaas in die Vrystaat. Het hulle mak gemaak. Hy op hulle stiker gestaan wêreldrekordslaaner. Hulle het vir 3 maande aan mekaar dag en nag behalwe Sondag het hulle gewerk. Hulle het net gestop om olie af te tap en brandstof in te gooi. Na daardie tyd het hulle 'n fabriek toe gevat en uit mekaar het gehaal en kon geen slytasie op hulle kry nie. Net te goed vir nuus nog gewees. Baie dankie.
Maar daar's een ding wat die oom nie gesê het nie, en dit is toe ek hierdie trekker gekoop het, toe word daar vir my gesê, nou ry jy 'n Land Rover. Nou almal ken mos die grap oor Land Rovers met die olie wat lek. Nou hierdie trekker ry gewoonlik ry met 'n bak en dan sit jy die bak onderkant om sodat jy die olie kan opvang. Maar dit is 'n baie maklike trekker. Dit is die voorganger gewees van die Ford 5000 en die Ford 5000 is op pad en dan sal jy sien die verskil tussen hierdie een en die Ford 5000. En die een was die voorganger vir die Ford 5000. Dankie my vriend hoor. Die volgende man wat ons hier het is Johannes Eis. Ek het nou net vir die manne gesê, dis die man wat ons bietjie moet blootstel om te gesels vandag. Want Johannes is die voorsitter van die Wes-Kaapse Veteraan Trekkerklub. Hierdie 730 het 'n lang pad. Hy kom daar uit Klokkelaan uit die Vrystaat. Hy's gerestoreer gewees deur die eienaar wat hom gekoop het in Klokkelaan volledig gerestoreer en ek het hom op 'n veiling in die Kaap kon ek hom koop. Ek wil net vir u wys wat kan gebeur wanneer jy restaurasie doen. In die restaurasieproses het een van die manne wat aan die trekker gewerk het hy vergeet om die bout wat hierso uit die stuurwiel uitkom, wat binne die stuurmeganisme ingaan, het hy vergeet om die onderste nat vas te draai. Ek het seker 40 km gery op 'n grondpad met die trekker en by my huis gekom hier in Grootbrak. En die volgende oggend is ons op pad na 'n geleentheid toe saam met oom Koos Mini. En die Gerard later gaan stop voor my en die volgende oomblik toe trek hy weg en ek hardop en ek spring op die trekker op. En toe daai boutjie, dis 'n 2-silinder enjin wat hy in het. En soos hy staan, jy kan sien daarso hulle beweeg, hulle staan nie doodstil daai engines nie. En toe ek op die trekker klim, toe ek wegtrek, toe daai boutjie uitgeval as gevolg van die beweging van die engine. En nou ja, daar sit die skade wat 'n ou het van 'n trekker. So dis volgende ding van hierdie trekker wat baie interessant is. Hy het 'n klein enjintjie wat hom staart, dis 'n John Deere 4-silinder enjintjie wat daar net onderkant die stuurwiel sit. Jy staart eers die klein enjintjie en dan gebruik jy die klein enjintjie om die groot enjin te start. En dan loop hy. So baie dankie Johannes. Hy vra of hy die start moet demonstreer, toe sê ek nee, net of wil hy nie start nie. So, baie dankie Johannes hoor. Dankie man. Jy sien Nathel, nou moet hy hom start. Nou moet ek hom start, jy sien. Dis nou 'n setup, nee. As jy nou ooit al 'n setup gehad het, is dit 'n setup. Hy het dit mooi beplan. Jy sien, as hy voorsitter van die Weskaap klub dit aan 'n klubman doen, dan moet jy hom weet. So wat ons doen, ons sit eers die krag deur na die klein enjintjie toe. En dan hard op die klein enjintjie, gee hom 'n bietjie spoed. Dan het ons so die hefboom wat ons gebruik om die kompressie weg te vat wat binne in die silinders is om die ontbranding te doen. En dan gaan ons hom nou engage en jy sal hoor hoe begin die klein enjintjie draai dan die groot enjin. En daar is die startproses. Hierso het ons een van Paul se liefdes, die 35X, wat die volgende trekker is. Ook weer eens 'n baie bekende trekker wat hier in die omgewing geloop het. Wat Paul ook dieselfde deurgegaan het om hom so te restoreer. En kyk, dis 'n pragtige trekker en baie dankie dat jy hom vir ons om die arena gebring het, hoor. Baie dankie. Hier sit ons met ons groot vriend Roelof. Roelof het, jy kan hier sien, 'n trekker wat absoluut so van sy ma afkom. Besondere trekker, soos wat ek gesê het, dis die voorloper van hom was die Volkswagen, die Supermajor. Hier is die 5000, baie kragtige trekker wat nou nog hier in die omgewing baie gebruik word op plase. Een van die goed van hierdie Ford 5000's kom ons sê jy het hom oorspronklik gekoop vir 3000. Jy kan hierdie trekker in hierdie toestand kan jy omtrent verkoop vir 75000 vandag. As jy hom 'n bietjie mooi maak en jy sit hom in die mark, dan kry jy oor die 100000 vir hierdie trekker vandag. So dit is 'n baie sterk trekker en is ook 'n baie betroubare trekker. Baie dankie Rudolf. Ek sien ons is daarom nog binne die tyd, meneer die programdirekteur. Nee, jy kan nie verbyry nie. Weereens, as jy nou kyk aan hierdie trekker, pragtig gerestaureer, maar dit is so belangrik dat jy, wanneer jy daar tussen die karre en die bakkies ensovoorts beweeg, dat jy vir die mense 'n bietjie vra, wat is spesiaal aan hierdie trekker? En ek gaan nou vir Leon vra net om vir te verduidelik gou.
Die trekker is 4600 Ford. Hulle was oorspronklik gemaak in Engeland en toe hulle in die Brasiliaanse deel kom, toe vind hulle die trekkers baie lig, uit die goeie brieke nie. Toe die trekker se agtersteewe hier waar ek sit, daai stuk is verander en hy's in Brasilië gemaak. So die trekker kom uit Engeland en Brasilië uit. Iets interessant, die gewone trekker het twee briekplate, hy het 3 om 'n beter brieksysteem te hê. Die trekker is ook toegerus met 'n 4,5 duim boor, maar die ou trekker is net 4 duim boor, so hy trek baie lekker. So dis maar hoe, dis my storie en dit het my 2 jaar gevat om hom so te kry.
En dit wat Leonie gesê het, hy loop op 3 silinders. So as mense vandag 'n kar adverteer en hulle sê 3 silinders is iets niets, hierso staan 'n trekker wat met 3 silinders loop. So en is 'n 78 model. Dankie Leon, hoor. Maar kyk daar agter is die spesiale yskassie, man, jy weet net nie wat daar agterin is nie. Hier kom nog 'n jong lid van die wat in die klub se aktiwiteite deelneem. Ry met pa se trekker. So dat pa is Rolof wat daar voor is en kyk hierso pa se trekker. Weereens soos ek net nou gesê het, 'n trekker wat uitkom soos wat sy van sy ma af, alles oorspronklik en een van die ou getrouhosse van hierdie omgewing. So baie dankie my skat, hoor. En jy sien, sy gaan ook nooit sit en leer hoe om 'n kar te bestuur nie. Sy bestuur hom al klaar. So baie dankie. Ons laaste trekker wat ons vir julle het is op hierdie stadium is die John Deere 70. John 70 John Deere is deel van 'n groot reeks wat in Suid-Afrika geloop het. En jy kan sien weer eens hierdie trekker het hierdie kant aan die linkerkant, kan hierso aan die regterkant van die drywer af. Hy kan toegerus word met 'n klein enjintjie en dan het hy die elektriese start. En ek gaan nou net omdat jy geluister het aan die ander start, gaan ek net gou laat Frank vir ons hierdie trekker ook start. So dit is nou die elektriese startmodel en die ander een soos ek sê, dit was nou die klein enjintjie, so jy kan nou hoor wat is die verskil tussen die start. Hierso bid jy nie baie nie, by die kleintjie moet jy baie bid voor die tyd. Baie dankie Frank, hoor. So baie dankie aan die George Motorskou en oom Dani wat daar agter staan. Op vir die alles Chalmers oom Dani.
It's day 2 of the George Old Car Show and I'm standing amongst Model Ts. You will know them because they are absolutely fantastic. Behind us is a display of American cars, American nostalgia, a tribute almost to the opulence and extravagance of the American motor industry. There are 900 odd cars, 4 rugby fields here. It's the last day. It's absolutely been a treat to share the love, the passion, the enthusiasm of a lot of the owners, the restorers, the builders. I've learned bucket loads of how the pedals on a Model T work, the drip system of irrigation, old cars from Japanese to American and English, and just looking through the field, MGs, Minis, Chevrolets, Model Ts, Thunderbird, there's Ferraris, a Lamborghini Jalpa, beautiful cars. It's a petrol head's dream to be here and be exposed to the people, the cars, the technology, and sometimes the lack of technology. Join us through the day as we bring you drive-bys of the cars and little inserts about interesting things, interesting people and stuff that we see at the George Old Car Show. Join us through the day. It's fun, I promise. Quibus, we're standing in a display of 16 odd cars. It is absolutely glorious, and clearly you've got a thing for American cars.
Yes, for sure. I think, as I said to you yesterday, I grew up with these type of cars, American cars. My father was a lover of American cars, and yeah, I think that just washed over to me, and that's why I decided to collect them. I bought my first collectible car when I was 26 years old, and from there on, it's just not stopped.
Walk us through and explain cars. I mean, I know very little about them. What do we got here?
Yeah, this is a 1959 Ford Galaxy Skyliner. In the States, it's also known as a retractable.
Yeah.
So it's actually got 6 names, this car. It's a Ford, it's a Fairlane, it's a Galaxy, it's a Skyliner, it's a retractable 500.
And it's got a roof, retractable roof.
Yeah, retractable roof that folds into the boot. So the boot opens up and the whole roof folds in. Yeah, this is technology from 1957. The Americans did it long before Mercedes actually thought they invented something special in the 90s, I think 1990s. So yeah, it comes a long way. It's a beautiful car. It's got the top of the range engine configuration, a 352 cubic inch V8. And as you can see, it's well finished. It's mostly an original car.
And all the cars you've got here they really are well kept and looked after.
Yes, it's a thing that I think my mother actually said came with me from birth. I wasn't easily satisfied with anything except the best. I remember playing with dinky toys as a child, and I grew up with 2 other brothers. We were 3, and if my dinky toy had a scratch on, I'd rather swap them for 2 of mine for 1 of theirs, because I just didn't want the ones with the scratches on. So you won't find one with a scratch here today.
Let's walk and have a look at, you've got to please educate me on what we're looking at and what we've got here.
This isn't part of my collection.
This is not.
This is a 1953 Buick belonging to another member of the club.
Okay, cool. Right, let's go along. We're going this way. This, Barracuda?
Yeah, this is a very rare Plymouth Barracuda. One of 7 built in this configuration. As you can see there on the front fender, it's a 383 4-barrel. In this specific configuration of Barracudas, only 7 were built from the production line. So it makes it a very, very rare car. A similar car, similar color, was recently sold as one of the most expensive muscle cars to ever be sold in America, with a Hemi configuration, which has a 426 Hemi, for $3.4 million.
I'm doing the maths. It's a lot of dollars. A lot of rand.
Yeah, it's not that many dollars, but yeah, it's quite a few rand.
What do we got here? This is proper heyday of American muscle cars.
Yeah, this is now the real McCoy when it comes to American muscle. It's a 442 Oldsmobile. The Americans will tell you that in its day, 1970, there was nothing that came close to it. It was the top performer, about 500 horsepower of power on the rear wheels. It's a real beast. Very few in South Africa. This is possibly the only 1970 in South Africa.
I love. You can just feel the power and imagine going back to the 70s and how the guys drove them.
It's a 455 cubic inch V8, 4 on the floor as they called it, 4 on the floor, 4-speed box, dual exhaust. That's what the 442 stood for.
Riviera, what tell us about this one?
Yes, these 65 Riveras, very special cars too. As you might notice from the front end, it has the clamshell headlamps. So the headlamps are only revealed when you switch them on and you open the headlamps, as you were saying yesterday, the party tricks. All of them have the party tricks. This is that in this case, the 65 Rivera.
Now,
Also a lovely car, yeah.
American Motor Corporation, AMC. So you don't see a lot of them around.
No, although they were built and sold in South Africa, very few people know that they came off the floor in South Africa in 1970. Yeah, they were sold locally, but not that popular. I think everybody was concerned about aftermarket service, spares, that type of thing. This is an all-original car, which is very rare to find. Only 24,000 miles since new. Still drives like a brand new car. 343 cubic inch V8 and a real hot performer.
We start going back to the more typical American style, big, boatish, but very stylish.
Yes, I think when looking at Ford and especially Thunderbirds, this must have had some of the nicest styling. It was a real nice, usable size car, enough space. What makes this car very special is that it's a Q-code car. When referring to a Q-code car, it came with a 428 cubic inch V8. Most of them came standard with a 390 V8, but the real few of the special cars on the top end came with a 428, and that's what they called the Q code.
I mean, the crease work in the bodies, complicated cars to press and make.
Yes, you can see the finishing. You know, you see the aeronautical design of the era. Look at the gauges, all round gauges. Yes, it's astronomical, you know, the way these people designed motor cars those days.
And details inside, and the chrome work is just extensive and exquisite.
Yes, you know, they didn't stand back for anything. Finishing was something really special. And, you know, the older designers really took pride in their work. When we get to the 50s model cars behind us here later, I'll show you some of the specific designs that they came up with. It was really something special.
Absolutely magic. Now, you got to... I'm almost lost for words. It is just beautiful, but also following some of the, you know, from the Thunderbird, it's got that above on its hips at the back. We're starting to get into more of the fin tails.
Yes, this is a 1970 Cadillac, as I said yesterday. It's probably the end of the fintail era for Cadillac. It was the last rear-wheel drive convertible car built by Cadillac. In that model, this was the last of the last. After that, all convertibles became front-wheel drives. So it's also a very special car.
It's almost tragic that moved away from the typical big V8 rear-wheel drive and then go and turn them into front-wheel drives. Oldsmobile.
Yes, Oldsmobile, a lot of people think when you refer to an Oldsmobile, it's an old car. It's you're referring to an old mobile, but it wasn't that well known in South Africa. This is a 1963 holiday coupe, as they call it. It was the top of the range vehicle for General Motors. A real special car. This is a 394 V8 engine. Real nice performer. Drives like a dream. I took it on a trip to Cape Town recently and back, and it drives like new.
So just talking about that driving, you drive your cars often?
I do, yes. Having 40 cars, it's very difficult to drive them simultaneously, but I do get round to driving them.
Let's sneak up that way because we know where we want to end, and we're going to end on a rather special car. Now, Cadillacs with the fins. This is typical 50s styling.
Yeah, I think we saw this at the opening of the show. It was used to bring in the mayor of George, and that's what they were used for in the era. They were government vehicles for the high-end top brass, and only the very affluent could afford them and drive them. And I remember my father also driving a Ford and driving a Fairlane in the beginning, but he always aspired to buy a Cadillac. So eventually he bought a 1966 Cadillac, and then this 70, as I said, was also his car.
And a lot of the window color, that light blue, what is that about?
Yeah, it shows you how common or how early tinting of windows was actually there, you know, with vehicles, and all the windows are tinted a different color. It's when restoring vehicles, it's also difficult to get the right color windows.
Are there places that make glass especially now?
Yes, we still find them, but not locally, all imported from the States.
That white car, we're looking at it from the side, and first of all, what is it? And that very aeronautical influence, the aircraft industry was big in the States.
Yes, it's a 1959 Cadillac, and I think when anybody talks about a Cadillac, they're actually thinking about this. This is the icon of American classic. It's always referred to as the Cadillac. Everybody thinks, oh, this is not a Cadillac or that's not a Cadillac. But Cadillac changed their design every year. For example, the blue car that we had a look at just now is a 1958, where this is a 59. So you can see the vast differences. If we move to the back of this car, you'll notice it has a green antenna at the back of the car.
And was this just American opulence, or what were they trying to bring out with? It's almost like rocket engines kind of thing.
Yeah, it's typical aeronautical design, afterburners of a jet plane. You can see all of that. You can see the bullets from the aeroplane on the grille in front and on the grille at the back. I can show you the party trick on this car.
Yeah, what's that?
The fuel cap is hidden there behind the grille. Yeah, people don't know where it is, but you can see that the designers of the era wouldn't just stick the fuel cap on the side of the car.
Oh, they would spoil the line.
Yeah, it would spoil the line and the designs, and they had so much a passion for their job that they did it by hiding it away.
Absolutely beautiful. And now, this is the pride of your collection?
Well, it's a very special car. It's one of 9 built internationally in the Packard factory. It has a straight 8 engine. It's a Super 8 1501 5-seater coupe. As you can see, you can load 3 people in the back, 2 people in front. But the demand for it wasn't that high because you had to order these cars specifically out of the factory. They were built for you specifically. This one was specifically built in right-hand drive. Came from America. 2 were built in right-hand drive. 1 went to the UK and 1 came to Africa from brand new.
And it's got presence, stature.
No, for sure. It was a special car. I recall my dad talking about Packards in his day and saying it was one of the best cars ever built. They always used to say or refer to the 3 Ps, the Packards, the Peerless, and the, I don't recall the other one, but they called it the top of the range motor cars.
It's absolutely stunning. Quibus.
Pierce Arrows.
Thank you.
That was the third one.
Pierce
The
Arrow.
Pierce Arrow, yeah.
You never have forgiven yourself if you didn't get that one. I've got to say thank you for walking around and just sharing some of the American history. Just looking down the line here, the chrome, the opulence, it's quite glorious.
Yes, I think we might have just missed out on one very special car there, the Pontiac Bonneville. We can maybe just spend
Let's go and have a walk, and because as we go past each other, again, here's the afterburner styling again.
Exactly. This is where it originated in '58. You can see the similarity, although this is an Imperial. Very rare car. A lot of people don't even know what an Imperial is. You can see it there.
Help us. What is it?
It's built by the Chrysler factory, or not the Chrysler. The Chrysler built it. It was their top of the range, like Lincoln for Ford and Cadillac for General Motors. It's an Imperial. You can see the interior finished in genuine silver leather and golden carpets.
You've got to have a look at this. Gold and silver. I mean, it's like totally over the top, eh?
No, look at those gauges. Look at the instrument panel. It's all aeronautical design. In my opinion, one of the best designed vehicles in the 50s.
2 doors and 6 meters long. Love it. Right, where's the special one we're going to now?
Okay, well, we have 4 very special 1958 vehicles here. Yeah, 2 58s here, and then we have 2 58s parked there, and Pontiac Bonneville, and an Oldsmobile. They all come out of the General Motors stall. This is an exceptionally rare car. It's one of 2 in South Africa, the only fuel-injected model of 26 built ever. It's got a fuel injection for 1958. It came with an electric memory seat, speedo cruise, electric windows, power-assisted brakes, power-assisted steering. It was really the top-of-the-range vehicle for 1958.
And they threw all the technology at it as well.
Everything was there. Anything a modern car has. We can also have a look at the interior. You can see how well it was finished. It's finished to absolute original finish.
Look at these carpets, like a glitter carpet.
Yeah, they call them sparkle carpets.
At night it must be quite spectacular.
Yes, you can see the chrome, the finishing. On the dashboard you'll see the memory seat, the electric memory seat control, the rear 2-seater sport coupe. It's a 2-seater sport coupe. It's a very, very rare car to come across in today's time.
And the closing, the door, the proper, I was going to thunk. I mean, it's proper. And then
Yeah, then
last one.
The sister cars. These two are sisters of each other. They came out of the same factory from General Motors, and you can see a lot of resemblance between the two. This doesn't have the fuel injection, but it has a tri-carb setup. It's got 2 carburetors, very much the same, a very high-powered car. You can see the same type of finish. We can have a look inside.
Let's go around that side so that Peter can stick his lens in it. There's your sparkle carpets again.
Exactly.
Black version.
Yeah, you have like a black and silver cream. You can see a tri-color finish interior, silver, cream and black material. But the extravagance of their finishing was something phenomenal.
That word probably sums up these cars for me, is extravagant.
Yes, surely. Yeah, I think that's what attracts me to the cars too, especially the 50s, late 50s cars. They're really something special for me.
Lovely. Cobus, thank you so much for sharing. I've got to close it. There you go. Get a thunk. Thanks a lot for sharing. Enjoy your cars. Treasure them and keep sharing them, because it's, I think, just to spread the love of 50s, 60s Americana it's a treat. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. It's nice to be sharing them here today.
Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you.
It's not only old cars at the George Old Car Show, but it's model cars as well. And it's still memories. It is absolutely mind-blowing to see the detail, Fred, that you've built in these cars. It's a proper skill, isn't it?
Yeah, it's, I've been at it for about 6 years now. I did it as a school kid for many years. Left it for a while and then started again. And then just, with extra work going into it, watching videos, looking at the actual photographs of the cars, and then just refining the models itself. Many extra parts put into it, like electronic wiring and detailed painting and so on, and that makes it fun.
I mean, I'm almost at a loss for words. They look so, the C9, it is so realistic. It's glorious. The paintwork and the detailing work, is it? You spray it, or how do you do?
Yes, I airbrush the car. The decals are part of the kit, but I make some of the decals myself as well. If it's not realistic enough, I do the decals myself as well.
How do you make decals now?
I import a special decal paper, and then you print the decals on it like photo paper, and it's a water slide decal, so it slides off in water, and you just add it onto the car and just put a clear coat over it.
So tell us about some of your these cars here. Which one is your favorite?
Okay, apart from the C9, which I absolutely love, the sound of that car in real life is something to talk about. And then the M8 is the last one that I've built. That is an absolute beauty. I love that car. It's amazing. It's a Daytona 24-hour winner in 2020. And then the other one, a special bit in my heart, is this Porsche, the 907. That was my lockdown car. I built this during lockdown.
How long does it take you to build each car?
Hours-wise, you're looking at about 80 to 120 hours.
Wow, that's
working on the car.
That's a bit of time.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about this Alpha. Let's go across over there and have a look at this Alpha, because Alpha, and there's just something about it's a DTM Alpha?
It's a DTM Alpha, driven by Alessandro Nannini, the Italian guy. Did extremely well. It was just the sound again of this car was something amazing. And you'll notice, you can't see on the camera, but the exhaust actually point upwards. And that is part of the sound, and it is unbelievable.
Can you pick it up and turn it around so Peter can see it?
There you go.
All done for a little bit of error. To speak about the sound of this car, and of course it had a naturally aspirated engine,
Yes.
and the induction roar, the
Oh.
sound of the induction as it's coming towards you
Just
is...
take this off so you can have a bit more exquisite detail inside.
That is unbelievably detailed. I can see now why it takes you so long to complete.
Yeah, most of the wiring and stuff isn't included in the kit. And I use telephone wire, computer wire, everything that's basically the same scale as that. And I just add that to the kit and dolly up the electronics a bit.
And of course, no display is complete without a proper Ferrari, and Niki Lauda's 312.
That's the Ferrari of Niki Lauda, the one that he had his bad accident in. That is a special part of my heart to that car. I was actually given the car by my brother. It was totally destroyed and I rebuilt it. I stripped it down and rebuilt the car. And also I'm busy with another Ferrari.
So is that how you move them around in a you say restoring, so it was built as a model and now you're going to fix it?
Yeah, this one was also destroyed. You can see the tires are all mashed up. It's been lying in the sun. You know, the guy he just gave it to me. He said, if you can fix it, fix it. And I did the whole thing. And I'm busy with.
Wow.
At the moment.
It's absolutely stunning. I'm not sure if you can.
Paint work is finished.
I mean, the colors and the bits of the seatbelt. Do you use ribbon for that?
Yeah, I go to the flower shops for that. I get that at the flower shops, and then you just weave it through. You get a little cloth. You can actually buy it as a separate kit.
And brand names of kits. Somebody wanting to start out. I suppose Tamiya is the go-to kit.
Yeah, absolutely. Tamiya. About 90% of my cars are all Tamiya. All of those on that, all the Porsches and all those are all Tamiya. Molding's brilliant. There's no mold marks, no seams. You know, the little bits there you can easily get rid of by sandpapering and so on. But it's a really well designed model.
And pretty blooming accurate.
Very accurate. Yeah, all their models are licensed by the actual manufacturer of the car itself. So if they do that Mercedes, it's under license from Mercedes to get the blueprints and to actually manufacture the model.
Jody Schechter's Wolf?
Yeah, that's also got a bit of a history to it. I got that car as a gift from my brother, and I built it and put it on Facebook, as I do with my stuff. And then some Facebook group in the UK saw it, and the guy asked me if I wanted to enter it for the competition. And I said, well, I didn't know about the competition, but go for it. And end of the day, I actually won the competition with that car. And I got the little McLaren in the middle there, which is the 43rd scale, as the prize for building that Wolf.
So when you have a competition, how do they judge it?
They judge it on accuracy of building, and if it comes down to the wire, they just want to see how even the scale of the wires, if that's correct scale according to the car. They measure everything and they just check that everything is absolutely right. At the end of it, there were two cars in the running, and mine actually won because the decals were right. The other guy had some of his decals were just slightly skew and off center. And that
proper attention to detail.
And all that gold on the car is actually airbrushed. It's not decals. You get it as decals in the kit, and I just use the decals as templates, and I airbrushed it onto the car.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. I've got to say thanks for sharing your passion and just bringing memories of these cars back. It's absolutely glorious. Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much.
Have a good day.
You too. Thanks so much.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Nie 'n Mercedes-Benz, Herman, dis 'n Mercedes. Jo, Citroen, waar kom jy vandaan?
Ja, dis 'n 1938 Mercedes 320. later model 3.4 liter engine, daar was so omtrent 6.500 van hulle gebou. Op die oomblik is daar omtrent 11 in die wêreld oor. So dis baie rare kar.
Baie dankie. Ja, dit is beslis want ek moet nou vir u sê, ek het hom al sien staan daar van bo af en dink ek, wow. Wow. Baie dankie. Dankie. Nou waar is die ander kar? Verkoop.
Hier is nog 3. Hierdie is Amerikaanse motors hier die 60er jare uit. Hulle is heel wat anders as die wat ons nou vroeër gesien het uit die 50s uit. Hier is Buick. Agter my is American Motor Corporation AMC Javelin. Ook 'n oorspronklike motor en dan 1963 Oldsmobile Holiday Coupe.
Nou sê vir my, waar parkeer hierdie voertuie?
In 'n groot stoor, oom, groot stoor.
Ok, so dis 'n mieliestoor waar hulle ingaan, 'n groot stoor. Ja. Baie dankie. Ja, dis nou 'n belewenis. Dankie hoor. Dankie. Ja, dis nou nie Amerikaans hierdie nie. Hierdie is nou maar 'n Engelse karretjie, né? Vertel my van hom asseblief.
Hy's 'n 1953 Morris Oxford MO. Ja. 4-silinder side valve 1500. Groter as die Morris Minor. Net so gekry, net so gekoop, maar die wiele gesprei. Maar ons gaan nou oor Londen toe ry. Ja, met hom, ja. Nie op 'n trailer nie, regdeur.
Ok, baie dankie, want hy's klaar gepak, die toebroodjies is in, die bier is daar, daar's wyn daar agter sien ek, dis nou wel nog in korrels, maar dis in 'n plastiek bakkie, so veilige ry hoor. Dankie dat julle hier was, baie dankie hoor. Ek wil dit nou nie waag om voor hom in te ry nie, met daai wielietjies sny my op en lyk ek soos 'n polonie.
Ja, hulle is bietjie kleiner as 'n normale kar, maar hulle is bietjie hoër op. 30 by 3,5 duim.
Hoorie so maar, ek het nou in die ander voertuie ook gesien. Hoekom sit hulle die stuurwiel onderste bo aan?
Hy's regop, hy's nie onderste bo nie.
O, okay. Nou jy sien, dis nou wat my ma altyd gesê het, my kind moenie jou bek oopmaak as jy nie weet nie. Weet. Nee, baie dankie hoor, dankie. Van die senior mense wat nou hier sit, wanneer laas het julle dit nou gesien? Dis nog laas op die plaas wat 'n mens dit moes doen. Dis nie sommer nie, nee. En dan moet jy ook weet wat jy doen, nee. Jy moet weet hoe om te vat en hoeveel keer om te draai.
Die is 'n 1915 Model T Depot Hack bakkie. So dis om Philip om Okkert van 'n berg die bakkie gebou. So
Baie dankie. Ja, dit is ook nie een van daai met die 2 engines, nee. Hierdie is petrol, daai en 'n stoom, is dit nie? Gasie. Dankie hoor, dankie.
It's come down from the Free State. We come down every year. It's a 1911 Model T Ford. Up to 1913, the Model Ts were available in different colors. But from 1913 onward, it was any color you like, as long as it's black.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That was Henry's words. As long as it's black, any other color, eh? Thank you very much. Hier is ook een met een van die slingers aan die voorkant. Hy het nie 'n sleutel nie, hy het 'n slinger.
Slingermodel hierdie, slingermodel, 1917.
17 en is dit jou voertuig?
Dis my voertuig, ja, van Bethlehem af, Henny Marks.
So jy het hom gebring op 'n sleepwa of self gery?
Gedeeltelik op 'n sleepwa, die laaste end het ons hom gery oor die passe en so aan. So.
Baie dankie nie, dankie. Dankie. Goeiemôre. Ek sien jy die baas by jou.
Nee, dis daarom nie my baas, die is net 'n passasier. Ja, man gaan my klap. My naam is Tom van der Vyver, ek is van ons Londen af, hierdie is 'n 1914 Ford Model T. Die dame is, sy is ook, ek ken haar al baie jare lank in die ou kar beweging, eintlik ek ken haar man, en dis maar almal is mos maar familie.
Baie dankie, dankie.
Dankie.
Oh, excellent. I'm from Utenake. My name is Brenda Kretschmann. And my husband's got a Tapolino. 19? Oh, I don't know. 52, I think. 52, I think.
Thank you very much for visiting us. Thank you. Remember now, next year, Okay, no, that's great. That's wonderful. Thank you. Hier is Philip met sy baas.
Ja, goeiemôre dames en here. Hier is 'n 1915 model T Ford. Ons het nou so 'n klein toer gehad. Philip Rosser hier agter my en Okkert met die houtbakkie en Kevin met die rooi Model T Ford. Ons het so 1500 km afgelê voor die skou met hierdie karre. En ons is baie dankbaar dat dit regtig baie goed afgeloop. Die ergste wat gebeur het, ek het 2 papwiele gehad. Ek het die voorreg gehad om in 'n huis groot te word waar ek met Model T's kennis gemaak het. En my pa het my leer Model T bestuur toe ek 9 jaar oud was.
En is baie duidelik dat die tradisie voortleef hierso.
Ek hoop so, maar daar's nie seuns wat kan aangaan nie.
Maar daar's niks verkeerd met die jong dame nie.
Ja, maar dis nie myne nie.
Baie dankie Philip. Ook een van die staatmakers hierso, dis 'n man wat al 'n lang pad kom saam met die klub. Hy en Philip, hulle is 'n tweeling. Philip Kuske, Philip Rosser. Hier is ook een van daai voertuie met die onderste bostuurwiel.
Dit lyk amper so, ja Herman. Ek is Philip Rosser. Hierdie is 'n 1926 Model T Ford en soos jy gehoor het, ry ons redelik baie met die karretjies. Ek het hierdie ene so 10-12 jaar terug opgebou uit parte wat ons maar so reg deur die land gery het om bymekaar te maak. Ja, en ons het baie groot pret met die goeders. En miskien moet ek net vir die mense wys wat nie weet hoe werk 'n Model T nie, hoe maklik dit is om vorentoe en agtertoe te ry sonder dat ek my hande op die rathefboom kan sit, want dit werk alles met die voete.
Nou maar doen dit Philip, doen dit. Dis nou wanneer 'n man sê hierdie ding gooi. Good morning to you, young lady. Can you tell us more about this vehicle, please?
Hello, yes, this is a 1907 Model S Ford, and the oldest car here today.
The Model S Supercharger.
You could say that, yes.
Thank you very much, thank you. Sy petrol sit hier langs die kant. Goeiemôre.
Goeiemôre, hoe gaan dit vanoggend?
Uitstekend, uitstekend, baie genade, genade onbeskryflik groot. Ons leef, ons is gesond, ons is by die karskou, waar sal ons klaar?
Dis reg, ek stem saam met daai ene. Dit is 'n 1911 Model T, die Runabout. Ek het die karretjie al 'n redelike paar jaar, en soos ek gister ook gesê het, ek kon gereeld af George County. Ek is van Piet Retief in Mpumalanga. Maar ek geniet dit geweldig hierso en ek dink julle het 'n baie goeie skou en 'n groot een.
Baie dankie, dankie hoor. En veilig ry terug as julle terug gaan huis toe hoor. Veilig. Baie dankie. Dankie. Ons sien jou volgende jaar as die Here wil, nee. Goeiemôre.
Goeiemôre almal, dis Tertius de Pre van Bethlehem. Ons ry vanoggend met meneer Greg Bjorkman se 1916 Model T. En ek het so 'n paar passasiers wat vir die eerste keer Model T ry.
So hulle het die Uber geroep en jy het hulle opgetel.
Net so.
Ja, baie dankie hoor. Baie dankie dat julle hier is by ons. Dankie hoor. Good morning to you, sir. I will not speak Afrikaans to you again.
Thank you very much. Well, we're here today. This car is about half the size of the Fords, which are great friends of ours, and we travel together on the vet tour, etc. But they accept this little one, and we enjoy it all together. 1926 Austin 7.
And it comes from?
It comes from Cape Town, but made in England in 1926.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Nog Engelse. Good morning to you.
Good morning. We're very pleased to be here, but we're on our way back home to Cape Town now.
It's a pleasure having you here. So it's such a pleasure, such a privilege.
Really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for a very well organized show.
Thank you, sir. And this was on very short notice. Now you realize that the team that we have here, in a question of a few weeks, they got this together. That's Philip Kushka, the twins, Philip, and the ladies and the gentlemen and the team and the big team that we had. They put in some hard work.
Outstanding. Wonderful.
Thank you very
Be back next year.
Thank you very much. We're looking forward to you. Thank you. Thank you. Seeing you. Bye. Good morning.
Morning, how are you, man?
Fine, thank you, sir. Yourself?
Thanks, eh? Well, thank you. It's a 1930 Model A Ford. I've had it about 5 or 6 years, and it's our baby, eh?
Definitely, it's immaculate. It looks in a great condition.
Thanks a lot, eh?
Thank you, sir. Goeiemôre, hoe gaan dit om Wani?
Ja, alles reg, dankie. Ek is van Middelburg in die Oos-Kaap. So 1928 chef Roadster, een van die laaste viersilinder chefs wat gebou is. Hy's toegerus by die Columbia 2-speed diff, deesdae bekend as 'n overdrive of dan is baie betroubare kar oorspronklik net oorgedeel dis al verder as oorspronklik aan hom. Net soos hy van sy ma afgekom het.
Dankie oom Wani, dankie hoor, baie dankie. Ek sien nou ander dag vir Kobus hier ergens. Ek is doodbang om so voor daai karre in te loop. Kan 'n mens jou nou die koerantberig voorstel? Man omgery deur 'n 1907 Ford. Ja. Dit
Philip, fascinating display that you've got here. Not just the vehicle, but you're putting on a proper show.
Well, Colin, yeah, I've always believed that it attracts people a little bit more when you actually display something rather than just leave your car in the open. Kids of all ages that I've found from 2 to 72 come up and chat and ask questions, and a lot of the guys that, of course, were in the military in one way or another, it brings back lots of memories. So, yeah.
Some of them good, some of them not so good. So the vehicle, it's a Willys Jeep.
It is indeed. This particular one is a 1946. It's post-war, but it's representing in its guise the French Foreign Legion from 1983 to about 1991, with the correct weaponry and the correct markings, used in Chad and Djibouti, North Africa. The uniform as well is French Foreign Legion, 2nd REP. Which is a parachute division, also used around that time and seconded at times to the United Nations, hence the UN badge.
So, do you have to get permission from them to wear the uniform? Because I know that sometimes a French Foreign Legion can be very French.
It is indeed, but I'm ex-military myself, and although I was not in the Foreign Legion, we have a group called the Heritage Club, and we represent from World War II right the way through different periods of conflict. And so we set up almost like a tableau just to display the weapons and the vehicles in period. And I feel that dressed the way I am and armed the way the vehicle is, it gives a good display and a good impression to those people that want to visit of a certain period in history, almost like a snapshot, as you will.
But that's, I think that, you know, this whole show, there's lots of little snapshots and memories that get jogged and of various periods in time. And this is, I mean, it really is, it's like real, because it is real. Talk us through some of the weaponry.
Well, the sniper rifle on the front is not period. That is a Chi-Tac 406 caliber. It's a modern sniper rifle. The rifle that I've got here, pointing upwards, you can't really see it, is French FAMAS, which is their French standard battle rifle. We've got an M249, which is a squad automatic weapon, 5.56 caliber, mounted on the plinth, which gives a wide field of fire for the passenger sitting in the front. And just for flavor, at the back, I've got a Russian, in other words, an enemy weapon, which is a Russian PKM. Light machine gun.
That was 7.62.
That was 7.62, that's right, 7.62, belt fed on that side. Just for a bit of a display for some enemy weaponry as such.
Okay, so these are real weapons. What's the licensing procedure, or is there a protocol, or are they only for display and blanked off?
These particular weapons are what they call deactivated weapons. So the current licensing laws do not allow you to have fully automatic weapons as what they are. You can go through huge amount of stress to get licenses for that, but they cannot be fully automatic. So these are deactivated pieces for display only. Plus, of course, it adds a little bit of reassurance that if anything was stolen, it wouldn't be able to be used against anybody in anger. So
the saw is big discussion, you know, now with the American military going to their next issue, and it's probably the last of the so-called dumb weapons before the advancement of new electronic stuff.
Yes, the new electronic stuff is quite interesting, and it puts it in a whole new range whatsoever. You're quite right. Although this is a current weapon, it will be phased out in a period of time. This particular one is the parachute. Is the parachute version. It's got a folding stock and a shorter barrel, but it's used in combat now. It was used in Afghanistan up until the closure of Afghanistan.
And on both sides.
Absolutely, the French use this as well. In fact, a lot of Western armies have discovered that it is it's a good weapon. This particular weapon, or not this particular one, but its family come all the way from Vietnam, where the old Minimi was used, and it's progressed through the years until now, where they've really honed it down to its final production.
The next display that you go to, where's your next program of sitting around sharing in this experience?
It's difficult to tell. I don't often go to shows out of town. There's one in Neisner, which is a very good show in May, which I'd hope to be there if it is indeed on. I used to fly for the UN up in Africa and various other places, so I never had time to display as regularly as I could. But it's always fun to come to a show like this with a variation of what there is and display something that isn't always available to the public, especially in today's times where the military doesn't actually display much at all.
Well, not peacefully, but Philip, I got to thank you for sharing and just jogging little bits of memory. It's absolutely been a pleasure. Thank you so much, and good luck for the rest of the show.
Well, Colin, thank you so much. It's always good to speak to people, as I say, from all ages, and to chat and just share. And hopefully they go away from the display knowing just a little bit more.
I certainly do now. Thank you.
Waarvoor staan GMC?
General Motors Canada.
Canada.
Dis 'n Kanadese chef, Kanadese General Motors produk.
Vertel my 'n bietjie van hierdie ene, want hierdie een lyk asof hy nou net uit die boks uitkom.
Hy is nou net klaar gemaak. Dis die eerste keer wat ek hom nog gery het van Randfontein na Wiener toe. Ek het hom 17 jaar terug gekoop in Belfast, toe hy 30 jaar onder 'n afdak gestaan daar. So hy het letterlik 47 jaar laas gery.
Belfast is nou in die Transvaal.
Transvaal, ja. Dis in die ou Transvaal, ja. Is nou Limpopo of whatever hulle dit nou noem, ja. Mpumalanga, dis waar dit nou is, ja.
Ja, want ek het nou die dag 'n interessante storie ook gehoor van hierdie GP en die MP en die FS en daai goeders. Hulle het 'n storie omtrent, maar jy kan dit nie in die openbaar oor vertel nie. Glad nie.
Ja, dit kan jy glad nie doen nie, ja.
Baie dankie.
Baie dankie, goed hoor.
Dankie. O, hy is grand hierdie ene hoor. Hy is grand. Hallo, praat met my oor die wonderlike voertuig.
Goed, wat julle hierso sien is 'n Jensen Interceptor. Soos wat jy Mercedes kry, so is die brand Jensen. En soos wat jy 'n Corolla kry, so is hierdie 'n Interceptor. Dit was 'n kar wat veronderstel was om enige vyandige sportmotors mee te onderskep en uit die game uit te haal. Nou wat besonder is van hierdie kar is dat dit is 'n 2-deur GT, maar soos julle kan sien het ek 'n passasier hier agter in my en sy is heeltemal gerieflik. So dit is werklik 'n 4-sitplek GT. Maar meer nog as dit is dat die engine is 'n 7.2 liter engine. So elke silinder is amper 1 liter en daar's 8 van hulle. Dis groot stukke yster wat hier rondgeswaai word. Groot stukke yster. Nou wat ook besonder is dat daar is van hierdie motors omtrent 10 dink ek in Suid-Afrika wat ek kon uitvind. En daar is in totaal van hulle omtrent net onder die 7000 vervaardig. Terwyl as 'n mens kyk na Jaguar E-Type, wat daar was daar 70000 E-Types vervaardig. So daar is omtrent 11 E-Types vir elke een van hierdie in die wêreld. So dit is 'n besonderse kar.
Beslis 'n besonderse kar. Ek het hom nou daar sien staan, toe dink ek James Bond.
Ja, ek dink nie dit was James Bond nie, ek dink dit was The Saint wat met hierdie kar gery het. Ja.
Jesie, baie dankie. Nou, hy is nou in jou besit, is hy is die eienaar nie.
Ja, ek het hierdie kar gekoop by 'n oomie daar in Irene in Pretoria. Die kar het vir omtrent 21 jaar onder 'n afdak gestaan. So, toe ek nou die kar daar wil wegry, toe moes ek nou letterlik begin by remme, brandstof, verkoeling, alles moes ek eers regkry voordat ek die kar kon wegry.
So as dit Irene is, dan het dit iets te doen met die vorige regering, né?
Nou praat ons politiek en daar moet ons wegbly.
Baie dankie hoor, dankie. En hy's nog outomaties ook, né? Ja. Ja, sien, dit sit gemaklik hoor. Gemaklik. Dankie, baie dankie.
Dwayne, Lexus V8 in 'n Corolla. Daar's iets nie lekker daarin.
Nee, is altyd beter om meer pistons as om ander mense te hê so.
Jy kan nooit te veel krag hê nie.
Ja, die klank, dit gaan maar oor die klank. Jy kry nie die klank uit 'n 4-silinder. Jy kan baie krag meer maak seker, maar ek hou meer van die 8-silinder klank.
En hy loop lekker?
Ja, hy's nou onlangs gebou, so ek het nog net so 'n week of 2 met hom gery. Maar ja, daar's geen foute nie.
Dis nou lekker, maar daar's 'n hele paar ander karre hierso. Kom ons loop so 'n bietjie en sê jy vir my wat so special van die karre, want jy ken al die mense hierso.
Ja.
Ons wil met Dylan praat, maar ons sal hom nou kry. Nou 86 is gemodified?
Is 'n Supra, die nuwe Supra. Hy het net 'n downpipe op, maar verder is hy stokstandaard, maar baie lekker kar. Baie krag, baie modern. Ja, vir iemand wat van karre hou, maar nie 'n classic wil hê met 'n ander motor in nie, sal dit die keuse wees om te gaan.
Maar hierdie is Toyota Alley.
Ja.
Behalwe vir 2 GTR's wat
Ja, kyk, dit gaan maar meer oor die Japanese karre. Is mos maar 'n Japanese stand. So dit val ook maar onder dit. Gelukkig is hier nou nie 'n Volkswagen of so nie, wat German is.
So hierdie is die Japanese kant.
Yes, ja, is maar ons uitkyk oor die karre is, ons hou meer van die Japanese kant.
Ek dink daar's iets. Jy weet soos 'n Skyline en 2JZ engines.
Ja.
Hierdie is die twee
Street.
Ja, maar die engine wars. Japanese engine wars.
Ja. Ja, Shane se kar het 'n RB26 Neo in. Hulle is nog besig met hom. Hy het 'n RB25 aangehad, maar hulle upgrade nou na 26 Neo toe. Ook meer krag en is maar meer bekende motor en goed, omdat die Skyline se motor is in die Silvia. Maar ja, gaan maar oor die krag vir die manne.
Nou waar's Dylan? Kan jy hom roep vir ons? Daar is hy. Dylan, 2JZ's in an 86. Why?
Why not? I think that's the way it was supposed to be.
I mean, that motor is, next to the RB26. These two are the giants of Japanese tuner wars.
Yeah, that's basically, I mean, the 2J is everyone's dream to build. The Mark IV Supras are unattainable nowadays, so we basically took the 86 shot and built the 2J setup over in it.
Come and just talk to us about the rest of the setup. You've got the smallest turbo I've ever seen in my eyes. How much horsepower does it make?
It's about 850 horsepower, so he's 620 kilowatts, 960 newtons.
And is it just your daily driver, or do you have like street drags here?
No, we built it up just as a street car. It's for a bit of fun.
It's really
You get a lot more out of these motors, but then, it's more of a drag setup, big drag tires in the back end, and so where it is now, it's more than enough fun.
And you guys do all the work because it's really beautifully detailed.
Yeah, so there's a guy in George that's built both of these cars, Mark at RPM. He did pretty much everything on the cars there. Built the motors, the internals, all of that stuff. To your managements, everything's done.
And now there's a couple of other cars. You've got to tell us about this one as well. Again,
There's a man that actually built this car.
another tour. Come and tell us.
So he built this car from the ground up, so he can tell you about it.
Yeah, so this is Dylan's dream car, Corolla. So he gave all his thoughts about the car.
Come and stand around the back here so that Peter can get it.
In a 3D picture, if I can tell.
And the work here is absolutely brilliant. You've got to be very, the detailing, you're very proud of it.
Ja, ek weet hy is ook trots op al sy karre, so ons kan nie vir hom 'n backyard job gee nie, ons gee vir hom 'n proper job wat julle wil afneem so.
And why is this your dream car?
I've always loved the shape. These are your little Escort Sports, but I'm a Toyota man, so I mean this is the closest I'll get to the Escort Sports, these two-door Corollas. And these beams are nice, I mean it's nice, high-revving, fun motor.
And naturally aspirated, you've got to hear the induction roll.
Yeah, that's it. So you did the 20-valve throttle setup on it, so it screams like it should.
Lovely stuff. And the last one, Little Bucky. Yeah. So it's got a party trick.
Yeah, so it's basically your original Toyota 1200 that Dwayne also restored, so he did both of these cars for me. And then we just basically put an air drive setup on it.
Just because you can.
Yeah, something different.
The car modifying, tuning culture in around here in George, it's like huge.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys. I mean, especially your Jap cars. So there's a lot of guys building your 2Js and RBs and that kind of stuff. Dwayne's also building a little spook at the moment, so hopefully in the next year or two his car will be here.
What's your car, Dwayne?
You'll have to wait and see.
Nah, come on, tell us, man.
It's a IS 200, like the Alteza, but the South African one, IS 200, with a lot of boost.
And what motor?
A lot of boost.
Has to be a 2JZ.
Yeah, it's most probably going to be a 1J, maybe stroke it to a 2.5. So 1J bottom, 2J top.
Yucks, I'm mad. Thanks a lot for talking to us. Enjoy the rest of the show. Cheers. This is Modification Alley. It's bloody lekker.
Nou moet ek dadelik sê hoor, ek het op ouderdom van so 21 toevallig van 'n 305 Yamaha af met drop handles en ek het nog nooit weer opgeklim nie.
Ja, goeiemôre. Die fietsie hier agter my, die blouetjie, dit was my eerste een. My pa het hom vir my gekoop in 1977 toe ek in standaard 8 was op Autoniqua. En toe nadat ek uit die skool uit is die fiets verkoop. En ons het hom na 40 jaar weer opgespoor en ons het hom heeltemal gerestoreer. So hy staan nou tans elke dag in die Bikers Church. So hy kry daarom 'n service elke Sondag. En hierdie is my latest. Ek het nog 'n paar ander. My broer is met 'n 400 hok ook hier agter. So ek is maar 'n Honda fan. Ja.
Toe ek so klong was van so 16, toe sê ek vir my pa, ek wil my 'n motorfiets koop. Hy sê, "Wat?" Ek sê, "Ja, ek soek 'n Honda." Hy sê, "Man, kry vir jou Collion." Dankie, baie dankie hoor. Okay. Kan ons 'n bietjie hoor hierso? Nee. Nee, waar gaan die man nou heen? O, okay, dankie hoor. Dankie. Old guys rule. Tell us about this.
It's a 1958 Changyang. It's a copy of the BMW 1938 model. They sold the rights to China and then they built these. This is an old military bike. So I've had it for a few years, just been...
With a sidecar?
It's with a sidecar, that's the way it came out, yes. Yeah.
So it's an old military bike, and you've had it for the past 3 years. Great stuff. Thank you very much. So you can take 1, 2, 3 people.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Okay. Hierdie lyk nou vir my soos hierdie kort horing by
This is a 1960 DKW Hummel Deluxe, 49cc.
49cc DKW en hy't sulke kort hendeltjies, dit lyk soos 'n aas wat lekker. How long have you been riding it?
That's my father's, Alan Rocky, who was just in front there. He's had this for about 4 years now.
Great stuff. Thank you very much. Thanks. Goeiemôre. Goed, dankie self.
Lekker, dankie. 76 Suzuki. 2-stroke, 3 silinders. Punte en plugs op elke silinder, carburetor op elke silinder en ek ry hom al van 76 af. Van sy eerste jaar af. Nou nog in die familie.
Wow, dis goed net. Dis goed. Gebruik jy hom gereeld?
Ja, ek ry hom so af en toe net om die engine 'n bietjie aan die gang te hou. Jy kan nou hoor. 2-stroke, gooi 'n bietjie olie uit as hy ry. Jy weet die ouens ry nie graag agter jou nie. Jy weet, maar dit kom maar met die tyd. Op sy dag kon hy saam met die 750's gery het en partykeer nog weggery het ook, jy weet. Maar anyway, so dit is daai dae.
Baie dankie hoor. Dankie. Okay.
Take through a legendary South African sports car, Sunbeam Tiger. What's it like to drive?
Scary, but very nice car to drive, yes.
And there weren't too many of them built?
73 coming in South Africa, complete knockdowns. Not much left. And yeah, it's the only place in the world they built them here.
What engine has it got?
This one's got a 302, but they came out with a 289 or 260.
But a 302 is just a 302.
Yeah, that's, yeah, just a little bit more.
And do you race it, or do you just use it as a daily driver?
I bought it from Roger Wood. He raced it for 17 years in Killarney. And I bought it from him, and it's like it is now. He stopped racing. And I'm just taking the legend on.
It's absolutely beautiful. Thanks a lot for chatting to us, and enjoy the rest of the show. And enjoy the car.
I will. Thank you very much. Okay.
Eddie Rust, walking down here and we see Harley Davidson. I mean, is it really a Harley Davidson?
I think you're probably lucky that you saw the brand first, because people like, that's an odd-looking Vespa, you know, and it's sometimes you look at it like it's a copy of, but this is the real thing. So it's probably the only one we know of in the Southern Hemisphere.
It's unreal. You were just showing now you pull start.
Yeah, I think this is the closest to a generator on wheels you will find, and maybe I must try it at home these days. But there you start it, you tune it, everything. But the weird thing is, you know, it's the other way around. So maybe it's all the G-forces of this 80cc motor that will pull you back. But it's weird things, and it's weird and wonderful, and it's quirky. And it fits in the back of a bucky when you come with all the other cars to a show, I guess.
So let's talk about the other cars. Air-cooled. I mean, it is absolutely magnificent. Tell us about this thing.
I think this is the godfather of them all, and it's sometimes easy to restore a car, and I like original things, and you don't get better than this. This is original 1951 Beetle South African car, and the nice thing about it, you will see it's right-hand drive. There's one in the museum that is older than this, but that's a left-hand drive. So this car, in the family, the family I got it from, I'm only the second owner of this car. And everything is in used condition, like you will see.
Completely unrestored, eh?
Unrestored. It's got the tales to tell, and people, you know, we've got these stories that they rust and those type of things. You know, my last name is Rust, so it's very apt. But there's no rust on the span. Everything works. You know, the indicators that when you drive in traffic and people always say, you know, where's your indicator? And I'm like, it's here, you know. So those type of things, still 6 volt. There you go. You see, it needs some 6 volt power. So when you start it, you know, the fancy cars with a push start button, 1951, we had your push start button. And you will see, which is very interesting, there goes the indicator. The interesting thing is the window, one big window, and they said, but that's wrong. So I guess glass was so expensive, and with the roads being the way it is those years and these years, they had they have to get air into the car. So if you look at this, there's the big window, and we all know the Beetle having 2 windows. They had this, a crotch cooler. Very apt name. You don't have to explain that one, but that's the difference about this car. In South Africa, made here, everything original, 16-inch wheels, the only one with 16-inch wheels. Other years on, they were 15s.
You know your stuff about this car.
I have a bit of a problem. People think it's a problem, but I do. This one sleeps in the house, for instance.
Absolutely brilliant. Now tell us about this other one here.
Coming through with a whole lot of love. So this was the era after it, like this is a split Beetle, and later 50s they went bigger windows because I guess the blind spot. So it's got an oval in the back and it looks like a normal Beetle, 1100, whatever. So in the 50s, you know, when the beautiful V8s came out, like the Ford V8, they're talking the 57s, they needed a bit of oomph. The easiest thing was probably a miracle on a Beetle to make it faster, but also to make it stop.
So let's have a look at the miracle that they ended up with.
In a true American fashion is let's put something on it, like a little pump. So this is Judson, American company, supercharged Beetle, 1100. And even if you look at the ad, I would love to know what this guy was smoking, because 50% increase and fast acceleration is that's quite a lot. But this car was maintenance, and you will see some other European cars at similar superchargers, and it was a supercharger or a conversion you would buy. You can only put it in about 5,000 kilometers into your driving, but it had Marvel mystery oil in. Until today, we don't know what it is.
Marvel mystery oil.
And we don't know what was in there. And people would think that is what made it faster, because it must be a miracle, and it's a mystery for us, but it's fancy two-stroke. So that services and lubricate the supercharger. This was all bolt on. I'm not sure about the 50% increase. It sounds cooler. You don't find them anymore. There's only 4 superchargers that came to South Africa, 2 being on cars, which I've owned, and this one. So 1100 motor with a top up, of this little boost, at least from 0 to 100 now, it's in 2 weeks, So yeah, I mean, it's the quirky ones, and this cars could be driven every day. They're still original 6-volt. The indicators work, and this is a small collection of another 20 that I own. So
20 Beetles.
20 Beetles. I do have the Porsches, I do have the other ones, but I grew up, like you saw on the number plate, from Sasolburg, the States, the Free States, and I guess I got into this country falling on a VW badge, and that's what I know. I know how to tune them, and even if it takes you 20 hours to get here, it's nice to be here, and it kind of surprised the family. Didn't know I'm coming, and then they thought, but we thought that's the only Harley Davidson here, or that's the only this year, and so yeah, it's part of the family thing. And then the rest were here yesterday, and I've got each shape and quirky ones and weird things, but these people look at the charger and they would say, we've never seen it, and I tell them, touch it, because you will never see that. It's the same as in the cars. I said, open the car, you must smell it, because everybody knows. Everybody's got a Beetle story to tell. We all had one, or we were made in one, So yeah, this is also very interesting about the supercharger, is that Abarth were involved in this as well. So the exhausters, which is not these ones, which I've got, it's twin pipes coming out, which was Abarth designed.
And I mean, that's how Abarth started, was as an exhaust manufacturer.
So that's why I drive an Abarth. My daily these days is an Abarth as well. I always said when I get to 50 and successful, I'll buy a yellow Ferrari. So
You got the Abarth.
I got the yellow and the Abarth. So yeah.
Eddie, thank you very much for keeping history alive
That's the
and sharing.
apprenticeship when you become an appy at VW has a toolbox. That's what a toolbox used to look like.
I mean, and Hazard is brilliant tools.
The ones after that, but both these cars came out with original toolboxes on the spare wheel, which is in this car.
Eddie, thanks a lot.
Now we get AA memberships.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cheers.
It's a car that they use in the worldwide cars that made the
Hierdie kar moet julle gaan kyk as hy daar buite kan staan. Gaan hy nog staan?
Ja, hy sal nog 'n rukkie wees vandag.
Hoe julle moet gaan kyk hoe lyk hy aan die binnekant. Dit lyk soos gomma sitplekke hier binne.
Ja, baie lekker. Dis een van 7 Packards, 1937 gebou, super uit, 1501 coupés. Net 2 in regterhand stuur. Een is Europa toe uitgevoer, een is Suid-Afrika toe uitgevoer van niets af. Dis hy hier in Suid-Afrika. Ja, hy's deel van die versameling.
Hierdie is definitief 'n kar, man. Daar's nou geen twyfel daaroor nie. Ek het nog nooit soveel karre bymekaar gesien vir een man nie.
Ja, ongelukkig is dit 'n siekte, maar hulle sê daar is pille. Ek sal hulle een van die dae kry.
Nee, wat is doodreg. Ons is doodgelukkig daarmee hier by die Kasko.
Nee, goed. Geniet julle dag verder. Hierso is 'n lieflike dag.
Baie dankie dat jy vir ons hierdie wonderlike voertuie kom wys op ons 25ste verjaarsdag. Now this must be an electric motor because it's so quiet. Whoa! Hoor net daar.
So this is a Jaguar E-Type. as is typical of British cars, they always have Series 1, Series 2 and Series 3, or Mark 1, Mark 2 and so on. So this is a Series 3, and what is unique about this car is that it has a 5.3 litre V12 engine. So that is rather something. It's a huge engine physically, not in terms of capacity. It's only 5.3 litres. But it's lovely. It's an engine that was originally designed to be raced at Le Mans in a Jaguar called the XJ13. But unfortunately, when the car was ready, the rules had changed, and the XJ13 could not be raced at Le Mans. But so Jaguar now had the V12 engine, and so they decided, well, let's do something with it. And they installed it first in the E-Type, and then a little bit later they used it in the XJ6 as well. That was called the XJ12, and then a little bit later they dollied up the XJ12 and they called it the Daimler 66, which also has basically the same engine, but now it was fuel injected. So this is a 1971 Jaguar E-Type Series 3, which is the V12.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Dit laat my nou so dink aan die Afrikaans mense. Jy kry mos 'n man wat gedoop word, Petrus, Johannes, Zacharias, Lucas van der Merwe, in plaas van sommer net Piet van der Merwe. Nou kom hulle met XLE's en XLC's en al, jy weet nou dan nie wat jy mee besig is nie. Is dit nie pragtig nie? Dit lyk so of jy hom op die mantelpiece kan sit en hom daar laat staan.
Goeiemôre.
Môre.
Hoe gaan dit?
Goed, dankie self.
Geen varsklaagtes nie. Dit is 47 Austin 8. Ek het 34 jaar gewerk aan die karretjie. En hy kom van Engeland af. En ek het hom so oorspronklik as moontlik probeer hou.
Bestuur sy?
Ja, sy bestuur ook.
Hierdie enetjie?
Ja. Het is nog 'n aanpassing, want hulle is gewoond aan die nuwerwetse karre. Ja.
Baie dankie hoor, dankie. Ook nie klaar gepak nie, die tas lê buite. Hallo.
Hello, this is the Skyline GTX, need I say more? The Ford killer from back in the day. Yeah. It's a Japanese car. It's my father's car, so he has it a couple of years. And yeah, that's my story. What? Namaste. Yeah, we share the car, so it's our classic at home, yeah. He doesn't drive it at all. Only once a year for the George tip.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks. Nou hier moet 'n man die nodige respek betoon. Want dis nie sommer net 'n gewone voertuig hierdie nie. Goeiemôre. Ek sê respek moet hier betoon word. Staan op aandag manne.
Ja, hier is 'n 1913 Benz. Soos almal weet het Benz die eerste motorvoertuig gemaak in 1886. Hier is 'n 820 PS bedoelende 20 horsepower. Hy het so 2,5 liter engine, 4 ratte. Daar's maar 'n handjie vol van die karre in die wêreld.
Ek is nou bly om te sien die man al sy hoed en respek daar agteraf, weet. Baie dankie en dankie vir wat u doen hierso. Dit is van groot waarde. Baie dankie. Dankie. Baie.
Ignatius, dis die 25ste anniversary en jy het al jou silwerkarre uitgebring.
Ja, 25 is usually silver, so ek het besluit my tafel is 'n bietjie leeg, maar dis maar al silwer wat ek het, die meeste ander is kleure. En natuurlik as jy nou in 1930s kyk van Auto Union en selfs Mercedes was dit mos maar die Silver Arrows.
En hierdie models hierso, vertel ons die storie van van hierdie streamline Audis en wat beteken dit vir jou?
Ja, wat in die 30's was daar maar kompetisie geweest tussen Mercedes en Auto Union om te kyk wie die land speed rekord kan opsit op die autobahns, en dan het hulle het maar canopies gebou en toegemaak om so min as moontlik windweerstand te hê, en dan het die spoed maar net opgegaan 330 plus kilos, en dan was dit aan die begin het hulle gery, maar die meeste het gery met V16's, soos hierdie ene hierso, en dan later die Type D het toe V12 gehad, en hulle het root superchargers opgehad, en baie ou tegnologie verbande, obviously.
En die detailing van veral daai model is ongelooflik.
Ja, daar is 'n CMC, en CMC is maar wêreldwyd bekend as 'n topkwaliteit model. Daai spesifieke model is 3 keer gebou in Amerika voordat Duitsland gelukkig was daarmee. So hulle het 1 tot 3 skaal tekeninge gestuur Amerika toe. They built the first prototype and they sent it to Germany. They said, nope, this and this must change, and they did it again until eventually they were happy and they could manufacture like 1,500 of those. It's built out of more than 1,000 separate pieces. Each wheel has got 70 spokes with a valve and everything. Even on the rubber housing, there's hose clamps and stuff. So it's, yeah. If you look inside the filler, there's even a sieve for the petrol.
It is absolutely stunningly beautiful. And you've got a thing for Audis.
Why?
I mean, just the glory days of LMP1 cars and super touring cars.
Yeah, no, I've always been an Audi fan. My uncle used to work at VW, and since I can remember, it's always been fun to go in one of the Audis and go for a spin. So.
Just got to say thank you for bringing memories and bringing these to life. I just hope more and more people can get to see them and appreciate the clear love and care that you've put into these cars.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for chatting to us.
Thanks, Colin.
kilos, 101,500 kilometer, ja.
Met 'n kar 105 jaar oud, met drip lubrication, met thermocycling cooling, met geen brikke. Dis jy het net nou gesê, dis 'n miracle.
Yeah, I think it's a miracle, Colin, because, this car's a 1915, so it's what? I'm not good at maths, but...
106.
107 years old. And we left George last Friday. We covered 1,500 kilometers. We did several passes. We did the Huisrivier Pass. We did the Caimans Pass. We did the Red Hill in Cape Town. I said Huisrivier Pass, I think. We did the Toyskoof Pass. This car did all those passes in top gear. It's only got 2 gears. It's got a low gear and a high gear.
And you didn't have any trouble with it?
No, I was very fortunate. I had 2 flats. I've never ever had any flat tires in my entire life in a Model T, and on one trip I had 2 of them. But that was the worst trouble that we had with the Model Ts.
It's mind-blowing.
It's mind-boggling. You're quite true. It's fantastic.
And to drive, to see a bunch of these driving down the road, the view on the people's faces, it must just bring joy to you.
Colin, not to me, but to the people out there. You should see them. They clap hands. They wave at you. I didn't see one guy that we passed not having a smile on his face. So we brought joy to thousands of people on this journey.
There's these 4 fields here and another 2 fields up there for more modern cars. I went up there just now. But I don't want to be there. I want to be here with the old cars, because wherever you walk, there's no unhappy people here. Everybody's smiling.
You're quite right. And that's why I say, for me, having me owning this car, it's really a privilege. And I would love to share the passion with everybody that I come across with.
Well, I'm a convert with this thing.
Okay, I'll teach you how to drive it. I'll teach you to drive it.
Can you run it up the Somali Hill climb?
I'm busy with the project. Did you see the speedster you interviewed Andre Wessels?
Yeah.
We're planning to do it next year, the Samola Hill climb with that.
Now that thing.
That's something special. Yes.
I look at that car, and I picture in my mind 1915, guy's in the car and you're going flat out in that thing. He's terrified, excited, exhilarated, and terror is the main thing. But imagine the people on the side of the road when that thing comes past you.
Yeah, Andre's made a overall for him and myself. Andre and we're very close. And he's got a white overall with a Ford badge at the back, and made exactly the same with the Vidal brand. Vidal oil was the official oil that Model T Fords used in production.
So what oil do you use now?
15W40.
Just normal mineral oil?
Yeah, Midas Special.
Because it's cheap.
No, not because it's cheap, because I use so much oil. No, it drips all over. So,
okay, now why the wire wheels on this car versus the later one? I would have thought that.
No. The wire wheels on this car is a period correct accessory. Hayes was the official supplier to Ford for wheels, but they saw that there was a problem because
with the wooden wheels.
The wooden wheels, the old ones, were non-demountable wheels. So you couldn't remove the rim from the spoke itself. So when you get a puncture like I did, you had to sit next to the road, fix it like you would have fixed your bicycle, and that takes time. So they made it demountable. So the wheels that I've got is Hayes wheels, very sought after accessories, but they were first manufactured in 1914. So they're period correct for this car. But it's not as the car went off the production.
Okay, so an aftermarket accessory. Then around this side here, there's like a fence. What's this about?
We were on tour for more than a week, and I had to carry all my luggage. So that was my luggage rack. I had my suitcase there, and I tied it with tie downs there. So that was my luggage rack.
Because there's no
room. I mean, your space. You can press it hard. Yeah, that's the hooter.
And the lights?
The lights are paraffin lights. So if I can just get, you open them and you light them. They work.
Okay, so but are these still standard lights or
standard lights? They magneto lights, so they work from the magneto. So the higher the revs, the brighter your lights are.
So it encourages you to go faster.
Exactly. No, there's a lot of encouragement to use the car. Yeah.
That's a toolbox.
That's my toolbox.
Do you also carry a conrod around with you just in case?
Three
of them. Can you show us a conrod, please?
I'll definitely. I'll show you.
This is just so special for me to be around here, to see the history. I mean, Ford have just announced they're going GT3 racing, but to think 100 and lots of years ago, this is where it all began for Ford. That now modern day GT3 racing is
something special. This is something special.
It is.
You see this little thing? It's a case that I don't want to open on a tour because this is the emergency kit. And if you open this, you're in serious trouble because there I've got the connecting rods. They're already machined to the right size of the cam. The crank.
Wow, look how small these bearings, and it's a 3-liter 4-cylinder. Eh?
Yeah, it's 2.9 something. And then I've got a few timers if we get a problem. And that's the timer roller that fits in there.
And you got lots of silicon sealer or RTV. And
Yeah, that's if we need to do the rods. So you need to open up, and then this is the trembler coil. So
look at this.
The Model T Ford has got 4 trembler coils, and I can remember many years ago a car manufacturer said very bravely they first, and they're so wonderful to have 1 coil per cylinder. But I mean, Model T Ford, Model S Ford had that in 1906 already. So it's nothing special. So each cylinder has got its own coil. Yeah, and but look, it's minute.
Yeah. You know, I'm just looking at the lengths and the stroke of this thing. It's in my mind, I'm thinking of the rotating mass, and it's actually quite smooth. When other Philip started this one for us, so this is the box you do not want to open.
The box that I do not want to open.
Well, thank you very much for sharing it with us.
A few years ago, we had a tour, and I knocked a bearing, and it was number 4, and we opened up. We took the head off, dropped the sump. It's got an inspection plate, so number 4 is right at the back, and it's difficult to fit it, and that's why these are all 100% fit for the crank. So we took it out, and then we took number 2 out. And while we were having number 2 and 4 out and the pistons lying on the running board, a guy passed there and he said, what's going on? So we said, no, we've got a problem. We ran bearings. So he said, what are you doing? I said, we're fixing it. He says, flip, that's impossible. He took his camping chair, opened it up, and he sat there. He waited an hour, 2 hours until we finished the car, and he said,
did you at least have a beer with him when he finished?
No, we too in a hurry to leave. But it was wonderful, you know. So
that yes, that
the camaraderie.
Yeah,
I didn't.
It's more than camaraderie. Yeah. There's a bond with people, and how we somehow respect the old machinery and the heritage that these things have given us. It's going back in time. It's like going back in a time machine. Like what was his name with the DeLorean?
Yeah. So it's fascinating.
What else have you got in the back here?
No, nothing. This is the only.
So this was the boot of a Model T.
This one is called a runabout.
And so this is just basically cruise around.
Yeah, it's the 2-seater is called a runabout, and then that one there with the 4 seats is called a tourer. And then this one is actually a mother-in-law seat. There was a seat at the back which they called the mother-in-law seat.
Well, that had very small bolts on it that weren't tightened properly.
Yeah, and thumb pins or whatever you want to call them. And then that one is the tourer. But Henry Ford also produced the running chassis without a body. And then
that's where you end up with a racing car.
No, the wooden one there.
Can you come and explain that one to us? I don't mean to take your time, but this is just, we spoke to the guys about the engine this morning, so this would have been a rolling chassis.
A commercial. So they produced the car with up till the firewall, and then they would sell it. Like they sold a lot of these cars during First World War, and they made ambulances out of them, buckies and troop carriers, and you could also buy that and then make your own design for your business.
And it's all timber, and from back then the carpenters and the timber guys would make for a horse-drawn carriage.
Yeah, but remember, that's where it all started, with horse-drawn carriages, Volkswagens.
The horseless carriage.
There's the Horseless Carriage Club of America. Yeah, and that's where it started. Remember, they didn't have Google and all these funny things. All they had was the past that they could learn from.
And the people around them. Ask somebody and then you get with.
They were magnificent guys, eh? Clever guys, clever guys.
You know, I wonder how many people have been in this and what they've done with it and the story. If you could get this car to talk and the stories this car would tell you.
Yeah, I think that it's hair-raising, the stories that they would be able to tell.
And this would have been like 1920 something was the early part of the...
No, this is a 1915.
No, but I mean it would have been running still at around about Prohibition and start of moonshine running.
Yeah, this is 1915. The
Before...
Speedster is 1914.
Okay, so here's the challenge. Samola, the hill climb this year is not far away. Andre, a challenge. We've been talking about Samola and racing cars. This has got to go up the hill at Samola.
We'll definitely go to Samola, definitely me and Philip and the gang, but it's going to depend how the entry works and when and what time and so, but we're going to, Philip at that stage probably will have his car finished as well and try to take that car as well.
Can you like modify the motor as well and like give it a bit of compression and stuff?
We don't want to modify the engines, then it's going to lose the value of the car. So try to keep the engine exactly like it was 1914. You can tune it a little bit here and a little bit there, but not major stuff, you know. Try to keep it standard.
This is a stock standard Model T, eh?
Yeah.
Stock standard. Nothing has been modified on it, and it moves. It really.
We heard this morning about some of the speeds that it got, but I mean, you look at this. This is a proper race car.
It's a race car, but you should see Andre with his
with a kit on.
Yeah, with his kit on.
Have you got the period goggles and
everything? Yeah. So yeah, it's a wonderful car.
Guys, thank you for bringing some joy to my heart, and again, just joy. I'm so happy.
But Colin, if I just can finish off, the red one.
Yes.
That's a 1911 Model T Ford, but it's a...
Let's go and stand next to it.
Kevin?
Right, Kevin's coming. Kevin, come and tell us about your car.
He's the proud owner. He's very humble and.
Kevin, Colin.
Yeah.
Philip is just telling me what's special about this one.
That's not an easy question. The Model Ts mechanically are all the same. And if anything would be special, it was because they were available for such a short period. They lowered the seat a bit, they moved the fuel tank to the back, and they made the steering column and bonnet longer. But that only lasted a year before Henry decided that this business of making odd parts just doesn't fly. Everything's got to be standardized. And then they moved back to the standard length running board, standard steering column and bonnet.
Because this is like rakish. And
yes.
What's all the brass on it?
That is an acetylene generator. If you drip water onto carbide, it gives off acetylene gas. And sorry, was it?
No. Yeah. You use for the lights?
Yeah, for the lights. It would have been that one's. The pipe is not there. The gas flowed through to the headlights, which you then lit with a match. And anybody who's worked with a welding torch will know that bright white light that you get. And very effective lights. If you get your mixture right. So if the owner knows his thing, in later years, once they'd worked out how to pressure store acetylene, they had a little tank on them.
And there's a lot of brass on this car.
Yes, most of the cars built of wood, and then the brass was mainly the cover strips between the panels. So it's purely cover. The Model T started losing their brass work by 1913, because brass is expensive, and then by the time the First World War started, it became a strategic metal. So obviously they they lost their brass completely then. They were available in Curry. 1913 is the last year that you could get a Model T in a different colours. Although you didn't have a selection of colours. They
Just
had a colour
lucky
for
choice.
the year. So a 13T is blue, a 12T is green, etc., etc.
Thank you. I'm so happy.
Thanks very much.
Thanks a lot. That's Model T.
Goeiemôre, Tinus Nel van Mosselbaai. Hierdie is 'n AI, dis 'n nuwer model dat dit vanaf 'n DKW na AI toe gegaan, dis 'n 4-deur. Dis 'n baie ligte karretjie, doen goed, dis genaamd die limousine. Dit is nou die groter Engelse terme version, maar hy loop baie lekker.
En dis net die een met die suicide doors, nee.
Suicide doors. Jy moet mooi kyk hoe jy nie uitval nie. Mooi klou aan hom.
Baie dankie hoor. Sien jou volgende jaar veilig ry hoor. Dankie. Dis nie 'n suicide door nie, dis net one door.
Ja, this is good morning. This belongs to Hennig Maree. Hy ry hier voor in die grys 1900. Hierdie is 'n 1962 1000 S coupe. 4-spoed tot 8 handrat, 2-stroke masjien. Heerlik mee te ry. Ek is net bevoorreg om vandag met op te kan ry. Dit is 'n vriend van my se kar en hy is amper klaar gerestoreer. Hy het nou heeltemal nuwe masjien, bakwerk, alles oorgedoen, soos 'n full restoration. En is so amper so te sê klaar. Ons kom van Mosselbaai, ons hoop om volgende jaar weer te kom.
Nee, ons gaan jou beslis volgende jaar sien. Dankie, baie. Good afternoon, Mr. Spark.
That's right, yes, hello. We're from East London. We enjoy driving up or driving down from East London to George when the show's on. And we enjoy the trip with our Auto Union 1000S.
And you're driving back this afternoon?
No, we're going to sleep over in George and we'll take a leisurely drive back tomorrow.
Thank you very much, sir, and safe going home. Keep safe, please. Thank you for being here.
Hallo, my naam is Abel de Beer. Hierdie is 'n 63 model geregistreer in 64. Auto Union 1000S 2-deur. Hy is so 15 jaar terug gerestoreer. Hy het nog sy oorspronklike deurpanele en sitplekke, al die bekleedsel binnekant is nog oorspronklik. Baie spesiale karretjie. Hoop ons kan hom nog baie jare George skou toe bring.
Baie dankie en dankie dat julle hier was. Ek sê weer 'n keer, nou verstaan ek wat my pa gesê het, as jy pas die ding op. Hierdie is opgepas. Dankie hoor. Die tannie sê jy's 'n swart skaap. Vertel my asseblief.
My naam is Casper Schmid en dit is my 62 Junior wat ek opgebou het so oor die afgelope 5 jaar of so met 'n 3.6 engine aan die engine gesit.
Nou hier's weer 'n voorbeeld van die jong mense wat nie hierdie passie verloor het van die senior manne nie, want dit hoef vir my lyk pa sit aan die ander kant nie. Nee, wat ry pa? Genade, 2 Mercedes en 'n Land Cruiser.
Ja nee, is maar 'n passie, het kom van my ouma af in PE. Hy het my op dit opgesit en ek is bly ek het begin met dit want is nog ons die mense is baie vriendelik in die klub en dit gaan voort.
Baie dankie, dankie hoor. Dankie, totsiens.
Brian Bruce, we're standing between two cars which probably represent two different eras at Le Mans. The Jag,
The 1950s and the
then-
GT40 in 1960s.
which is the one you like the most?
Well, look, I grew up in Ford. So my father was at Ford, and this is the car, the GT40, that really made it for me. So it was just the sheer change in style, the movement from front to mid-engined, and the difference that made, and it just changed the history of growing. And of course, at this time in 1969, when they raced this one for the last year, that was the first time that Jaguar X decided he wasn't going to run across the track. So safety became important.
So strange you should mention Jackie X, because he was my childhood hero, and so much of, John Wyer and the GD40, Jackie X, John Oliver, Brian Redman, those are just super cars. But is it a Ford or is it a Lola?
Well, it was originally a Lola, but Ford bought the design and they did the development and handed it over to Shelby. So is it a Lola, is it a Ford, or is it a Shelby?
It's a GT40, that's all we know.
GT40, that's it, yeah.
I mean, you can say GT40 anywhere in the world, and anybody who doesn't know is a Philistine, and they should be removed, because this is an essential part of any petrol head's history.
Yeah, but of course there is a divide amongst petrol heads. So, you have to really like American and V8, even though the origins are the United Kingdom. But essentially that's the way it's become. And I think, and we've seen this, so with the AC as well. Yeah. It's this incredible innovation in the development of a car like the AC, which then Carroll Shelby saw the potential for and then developed further into what became the Cobra. It's
so
wonderful.
Here we've got the lineup of both of what Carroll Shelby, the huge impact he had in racing.
Yeah, I've also got a Daytona, a high-tech Daytona, which is one of the original prototypes of that development, and that's just an unbelievably super car.
Fascinating. But let's go back to Scott's, even though it's English, because Curie costs. This is a replica. I'm not a huge Jag fan, but I can appreciate that in period, this was a phenomenal racing car.
Yeah, the C-Type before it, which of course broke the ranks, and then this one which followed, its design style, its monocoque construction, disc brakes all round, etc. The way they essentially developed the engine to deliver the reliability and the performance. So it really just, once again, you had to have a breakthrough, and this was the car that made the breakthrough.
Don't you think that motorsport does so much of the pressure of war? It's war with cars.
It is competition. Yeah, competition brings out the best, and actually always this is where the innovation is.
Absolutely fantastic. So you've chosen one. You can have that one. I'll have to fight you off with it, because I also, if I had to choose one, it would be this one.
The GT40, that's great. It is just a super car, and to see this car on the road is unbelievable.
And the nice thing is, you've got the one with the
Gurney bubble.
Gurney bubble. Dan Gurney, another. I've got goosebumps now. Another seminal man in the.
Who passed away just recently?
Yeah. 2 years ago, and the things that he did. I'm just looking for a Gurney tab, and the phenomenal. Yeah. Thanks for sharing a bit of fun and knowledge. Which one are you taking to Samola this year?
I'm taking this one in Samola, and my friend Peter McPherson is driving my GT40.
Beautiful. We look forward to seeing you there. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for bringing it out and sharing the passion and love of cars.
Yeah, well, the number of people that have we've had the bonnets open, we've started it a few times, etc. They really, really do attract attention.
Lovely. Thank you very much for chatting, Brian. Have a magnificent day. Look after two pieces of absolute dream-making heritage.
Thank you. My team and I do that. We love these cars.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Quibus Harris, you were 25 years ago. You were part of a team that started the first George Old Motor Car Show.
That's correct. That was on Mr. Paul Fick's farm out at Victoria Bay. The farm was called Blackwood. And we had the first show there, and that was his idea that we must show our cars to the public. And so we had about 1,800 cars there. and with the people came, and then we realized we needed more space. And then we moved to the riding club in George. We've been there for 2 or 3 years, and then we ran out of space again, and then we decided to move to PV Botha, which is now Eden Technical High School, and has grown from that 100 cars to 1,000 units today. I mean, there's 1,000 vehicles here, which include tractors and buckies and whatever.
It's quite remarkable yesterday just walking around and seeing the full house of cars and the joy and happiness that a gathering like this brings to people. And I didn't see one person not smiling on during the day yesterday.
But I think, you know, everybody smiles at a festival, and this is a festival of cars. I mean, where can you, for 50 Rand, can spend the whole day and you can see 1,000 vehicles on show.
And every car has got a story.
That's correct, yeah.
So now we're in front of, I know it's a 1979 Mercedes because I read it now. Tell us about this car. It is quite a special car, and many, you know, youngsters like Peter, the cameraman, going back to their childhood. This was a dream.
Yeah, you see, when they came out, it's called the 107 range, and they came out in the SL, which is the convertible, and then the SLC. And funny enough, when these cars came in the market those years, it was the most expensive car you could buy in South Africa. There was no car more expensive. A normal car those days cost 8,000 or 9,000 Rand. These cars were 28,000.
But now, this particular car, this is your son's car, this is for sale.
That's right.
And I cannot, you told me the price just now, but I can't believe it. Just tell people the price of this immaculate 1979 SLC.
Yeah, this car has never been restored. It's totally original as it came out of the factory in 79. Everything is brand new. The spare wheel in the boot has never been on the car yet. When we bought the car, the original tire was on there, but we took it off and we put 5 new tires on the car. And but everything is still in perfect condition.
And how much?
299,000 Rand.
Rand, not euros.
Rand. Well, make
It
it,
is-
make it 300,000 Rand, and I can give you something.
Commission. So for 300 grand, you cannot buy, well, you can buy a small little car. But what's the mileage on it?
140,000.
It's not even run in yet.
No.
So for 140 grand, you get a 450 SLC.
In immaculate condition. Drivable, you can drive it to Cairo.
I'll tell you what, this will pick up chicks as well.
But you're probably with it if you know what to do with it.
Kobus, going back to the show, future of this show, I mean, it's an institution now. It's amongst all the clubs and the people. There's a community and a family that's growing. And I mean, you walk around and people, you've known each other for many years and made new friends.
Yeah, you know, one thing you must realize, in the beginning we were a couple of guys organizing the show, but today it's a big job. It takes a lot of people to organize a show like this because there's so many factors involved, you know, like fencing, and you've got to have a
Safety plans
and all that. So it's a big thing, and but it's grown quite a lot. This year is the first time we went to the top field, which we call the D field now. And we moved all the new car dealers there and some of the stalls. So they're all there. So the show is getting bigger and bigger. Well, it can't actually go bigger. It can just go better. And every year, the second week in February, the George Motor Show is on.
I'll tell you what, make a date in your diary and do yourself a favor. Get here. It is spectacular, brilliant part of the country. I've met a whole lot of super interesting and friendly people. There's not one non-smiling person here. And come and buy this thing for 300 grand. It is a steal. Kobus?
And this whole exhibition here is the Mercedes-Benz Club this is the Southern Cape branch of the Mercedes-Benz Club of South Africa. And we were fortunate to have the Borgward Club here to have their anniversary
60th,
as well.
61st this year, but they celebrated from last year. Yeah.
So we had them here. That was a fantastic show yesterday.
And yesterday there were the E classes and the C classes down here, which are also celebrating 30 and 40 years old.
Yeah, the 107s is also celebrating, and then the 116 range, and then the This one here, the 190E. So that was also celebrating.
Whole lot of celebrations.
Whole lot. It's just one big celebration.
It's absolutely magnificent. Thanks a lot for sharing and congratulations and on the show, the success of the show, and thank you for that dream that you guys had 25 years ago. It's magnificent.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Guru.
Okay. Bye.
Cheers.
For Valentine's Day tomorrow, the Rotary out of Rotary, Africa. They come through with a whole lot of love.
Whole lot of lipstick and love. This is a 1935 Ford V8. His name is Henry. My dad built it for us over a 14-year period. It's got an old flathead engine in. I think it's a 48. And it's built with a whole lot of love.
Dames en heren, hy kom oor die hele Suid-Afrika. Hy het van die Kaap tot in Limpopo het ek gaan stukke optel. Die body het daar naby Kreeusdorp gelê. Die onderstel is 'n 41 Ford Carsone. Ford het al die gate vir my klaar geboor. Ek hoef dit nie te gedoen het nie. Hy is 'n oulike ou gewees van Henry. Ja, hierdie Ford is spesiaal gebou dat hy moet lyk soos 'n garage Ford. Dis die Ford wat uitgegaan het as 'n ou staan en dan gaan hy eers uit om te gaan kyk of hy nie weer die ou aan die gang kan kry nie en daarna kom die breakdown. As ons dan nie aan die gang kon kom nie. Daar's hy. Hy lyk maar so die name hier op die deure is denkbeeldig. Alhambra Theater in die Kaap gevat en Twyfelvlakte waar ek bly by Carltonville. Carltonville staan op die plaas Twyfelvlakte en dis waar die garage maar vandaan afkom, is 'n denkbeeldige garage hoor. Daar's hy.
And now we've got Diff de Villiers. He started the Rat Rods of Africa. We can follow him on YouTube. He does amazing builds. He's a builder. He says he's a car enthusiast, but he's more a steampunk builder.
English or Afrikaans? Okay, so maar so die mekaar, ja, die cab is 'n 1955 Commerce Superpoise, is 'n bakkie wat gebou is in Engeland, baie skaars. Was nie veel van hom oor nie. Die dak is gesak met omtrent 6 duim. Die chassis is 'n custom build. Die donor car is 'n ou Chef 4.1 hier uit die 70s uit, so dis sy 6-silinder engine wat hier in is en sy differential en die gearbox. Ja, en die res is maar bits and pieces en duidelik soos julle kan sien het ek nie geld vir verf nie. Maar als werk. So ja, wat ek kan seker baie praat, maar dis seker genoeg, né?
I just want to indicate for all the guys out there, things the traffic guys, especially them, there's a bullshit detector here that if we do lie, you talk into this and it will show how much is you talking. Thank you for this.
Advies is 'n bietjie Mad Max malligheid.
Yes, ja, dankie. Dit is presies wat ek probeer bou. Dit is Mad Max, ja.
En al hierdie trucks is of 'n paar van die trucks is joune. Wat is dit omtrent 'n truck wat vir jou lekker is?
Baie motorfiets georiënteer, maar dis net heeltemal, dis 'n ander sensasie, dit is net absoluut. Ouens sê vir my, o, jy begin 'n trike ry, jy afval van jou bike af, as jy te oud word om bike te ry, maar dis twee verskillende goed. Dis net absoluut, is amazing, is net lekker, dis.
En praat vir my van hierdie engine. Wat is die drivetrain in hom?
Kom uit 'n Nissan Skyline uit. Ek het die hele kar koop, dan strip jy hom, alles kom uit die kar, die hele drivetrain. Masjien, radkas, ewenaar, suspension, alles kom uit die kar uit. Jy koop en pak en
so basies is hierdie 'n Skyline. En dis 'n Skyline.
Nissan Skyline, die hele ding, alles Skyline.
Ek kan sien, hy lyk soos 'n Skyline, heeltemal.
Dankie. Mad Max Skyline. Ja, nee, dit is 'n hobby, ek het al 4 van hulle gebou. Hier af en daar af en dit is net absoluut amazing. Dis lekker. Dis nie, besef my oor, is 'n lekker speelding. Dis my kar, ek het nie 'n kar nie. Ek ry net die goed. Ek gaan op vakansie, ek gaan Kaap toe, PE toe, Weskus op, blomme kyk met een van hulle, wat ook al. Dit is my passie.
Party mense sal sê daar's 'n paar boute en washes wat gemissing is.
Sit jou kamera af laat ek jou uitsal. Nee, dit is ja, dit is.
Maar ek kan sien daar's baie goeters in die soos die hande. Wat lekker gemaak is as
ja. Ek het 'n hele boks boude. Staan ek in die garage by die tafel, haal ek die bout uit dan. Ja, is te lank. Hy's te nou so jy dit doen.
En front suspension, is dit
self-design, dis gebuis op 'n Harley Davidson Springer suspension met al my modifications by en alles is self gemaak. Dit is baie min gekoop, die goed. Jy kan nie koop, jy kan nie sê jy wil dit koop of dit. Jy moet maak, die hele frame is gemaak, handgemaak, gebuig, geswys. Ek probeer ook omdat dit my passie is, alles self doen. Van bo tot onder uit.
En dit val in met die Mad Max theme, die outlaw theme wat jy vat al die bits and pieces en dan het jy
ja en dis waar die hande vandaan kom en die petrol tank byvoorbeeld agter is 'n biervat wat hulle die bier pomp mee en sulke goed, jy weet, en die jerrykanne is my panniers. Alles moet anders te wees, jy weet.
En hierdie die ligte hierso, waarvandaan kom hierdie pistons?
Die jerrykan wat oopgesny is en dan word dit jou panniers, jy weet. En die piston weet ek nie, kom by 'n engineering plek, gaan jy nou soek jy wat lyk of dit pas en dan gebruik jy dit. Die kleintjies is hook-up pistons, motorfiets pistons en sulke goed.
Ek dink is in stainless steel.
Dis alles, ja, dis vir die bietjie bling, jy weet, daar moet so bietjie bling ook wees.
En hoe vinnig loop die ding?
Ja, net. Die ene was nog nie op die pad nie, maar die een wat by die huis is, hy het 'n 1800 Golf en ek vat hom oor 200 maklik. Maar dan nie dit op kamera.
200 km/h.
Ja, nee, sommer maklik op.
Okay, so nou ek praat weer van daai boutjies en moertjies en die washerskies wat daar in die kop gaan.
Dit is dit is jy okay, nee, ek sê dit jy ry dit nie elke dag nie, maar dis lekker as jy op die oop pad kom en jy sien dit is redelik wat ons ry, ek behoort aan ek is lid van die George Ou Kar Klub, die swart skaap in die klub want ek het mos nou nie 'n ou kar nie, maar dan ry ons op 'n toer uit met die klomp, hulle ry 80 km/h maksimum. Dan stik ek terug en dan gaan ek by hulle verby teen 200. Dan is almal mekaar vir my vir die volgende 2 weke. Jy weet daai tipe ding, maar dan slek jy jou af, maar dis lekker. Dit is net amazing.
Amazing. Dis die woord. Baie dankie. Jy's nie normaal nie. Carry on that way. Don't be normal.
Ek het net van jou begin hou. Nou kom jy trek alles. Ja, sê nee.
Nee, dis lekker. Well done, eh?
Thank you.
Good bit of entertainment. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Ek het nog gelag.
Goeie. Nou moet jy help asseblief, verduidelik asseblief wat gaan hier aan. Draai die masjien in die ronde of hoe werk die besigheid?
Ai, goeiemiddag. Ja, wat is hier? Het is 'n 76 Mazda Capella Rotary. Hy is 'n 1200 cc. Ja, 95 om presies te wees. Ja, dit is 'n baie unieke engine. Hy bestaan glad nie uit seiers, soos wat hulle bedoel, 'n piston wat meeste manne ken. Hy het 'n rotary in. Dis so 'n driehoekige vorm. Nou wat gebeur is, hy draai in die ronde, hy het glad nie valves of enigiets nie. Hy het wel net intake en 'n outlet port. Ja, en dat hy 'n massiewe vliegwiel wat die hele engine basies in momentum hou. En dis hoekom hierdie engines verskriklike hoë revolusies kan hanteer.
Ja, daar by die spakplak sit jy my verloor al. Nou daai is die jong man wat elke môre vir my groet. Hallo Boeta. Hallo. Baie dankie. Die 1800 Mazda is die 616, né? Capella.
1800 Deluxe. Ja, hy het 'n gewone, hy het nie 'n rotary engine nie, dis net die gewone 1800 cc.
En hy het nou op hoeveel?
240.000.
240.000 kilometer en hy lyk nog splinter niet. Baie dankie hoor, jy moet hom volgende jaar weer bring, né? Dankie. Ook 'n 1800. Vertel ons 'n bietjie meer hierso asseblief. Nou hierdie een is outomaties.
Dis outomaties, ja, dis die 1800. Dis 'n 77 model. Hy's nou 'n jaar nieter as daai twee. Ek is die tweede eienaar en sy oorspronklike kussings met sy bekleedsel is nog soos hy die fabriek uitkom.
Weer 'n keer, pas 'n ding op, né?
Dis reg. Mens moet sorg vir hom.
Baie dankie hoor. Dankie dat jy hier was. Ek sien julle was redelik besig geweest daar onder daai tent.
Ja nee, ons gesels, ons kuier lekker saam.
Baie dankie hoor. Dankie. Veilig ry.
Johannes Ace, I've got to get this right. The Western Cape division of the Southern African Veteran Tractor and Engine Club. Have I got it right?
You got it right.
Thank you very much for talking to us. And it's fascinating to see, number one, that there's a veteran tractor and engine club. Important to keep the heritage of old machineries that's basically built farming in South Africa.
Yes, yeah, very much so. You know, if you look around these tractors here, basically, I would nearly say put agriculture on the map in South Africa, or mechanized farming.
And it's fascinating to be up close to such a range of, from relatively new to some proper old machinery that still runs and works well.
Yeah, okay, what you see here is very much veteran tractors. There's no new tractors among these lot here. A veteran tractor these days is anything older than 30 years, and sometimes people say 40 or older. So yeah, these tractors are basically all over 30 years old.
Now the Western Cape division is the largest of the clubs in South Africa?
We are affiliated with SAFTEC, the South African Veteran Tractor and Engine Club, or in Afrikaans, Suid-Afrikaanse Veteraan Trekker and Engine Club. So there's 9 clubs throughout South Africa, which is affiliated with SAFTEC. Western Cape is the biggest. We're about 2/3 of the total membership of SAFTEC. And then Western Cape is again subdivided into 9 small clubs, and which the Southern Cape, that's holding this whole collection here together, is one of the small clubs.
It's fascinating. Tractors, they're difficult to transport. We're looking at tractors on the back of a truck. You either drive them or you've got to have them driven. And I guess that's why you have the smaller clubs all the way around.
Sure. If you look at the whole Western Cape region, from George up to Olifantsrivier, which is Clan William and those areas, could be close to 700 kilometers. So it's difficult to keep a club, call it organized. So that's why we've got the small clubs. And then we hold from the Western Cape Tractor and Engine Club side, we hold events each year, or our national Western Cape show each year in a different area. So
where's this year's show?
This year's show is in Villiersdorp.
And it's a special one because you've got a couple of special things going on there.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people will most probably, if they see the name or the vessel again or a photo of it, will recognize it's most probably 8 years, or it couldn't be even long, 10 years ago, that we kept this vessel away from the scrap dealers, and was bought by the Villiersdorp Small Club. And then this vessel we transported all the way from the Cape Town harbour to Villiersdorp.
And the vessel is a tugboat.
It's a tugboat, and it's a tugboat with a very rich history, and it's most probably very synonym with the George area, if I can put it that way. This tugboat, the Alwyn Vincent, is a steam tugboat. It was built in Genoa, Italy, and I think it was 1952. And it worked basically Mossel Bay, and it also done work inside the heads in Neisner.
But now, the tie-up, I guess, is the three-stage steam engine, but it's not a small motor.
No, it's a massive motor. I think the main reason that we salvage eventually the whole vessel is it's very much to keep this three-stage steam engine intact, and hopefully keep it operational in some form. If it's not by steam, maybe with compressed air, to see this whole three-stage expansion process in a steam engine. But eventually decided to salvage the whole vessel. It was a hell of a story to get it to Villiersdorp. And that's now 8-10 years ago. Now, hopefully this year, this thing will get its final resting place. It's called the Alwyn Vincent Restaurant. There's a whole bar, everything that the club is now putting in place, and then also a museum. But the whole idea is to hopefully salvage the whole boat and convert it into sleeping cabins. It could be some niche type of accommodation. So
I think it's brilliant and unique. Now, when is the Villiersdorp show?
The Villiersdorp show is the 7th, I think, if I'm right, 7th, 8th of August. And it will be held at the showgrounds in Villiersdorp, but I think it would be quite a big event where we'll incorporate the whole opening of the Alwyn Vincent and things.
Absolutely brilliant. How many tractors or machines are you expecting there?
You see, due to the fact that we've got the small club, so if like Villiersdorp is now hosting this year's event, most of the tractors will be in that area, and then all depend on your theme for the show. We can most probably bring in tractors from other areas to complement your theme for the show. But the tractors for Villiersdorp will be most probably the clubs around that, not so much maybe from the Southern Cape, because your transport cost is enormous to get it for a show.
These clubs form an important part of curating history of tractors and history of South Africa, really. It's absolutely vital.
Yeah, look, it's very much vital. If we don't do it, our history will be gone very quickly.
Well, thank you for doing it, and thank you for putting a smile on my face with these machines and learning that you have a jam blicky. Yeah, I mean,
battling to start. That's what we're dealing with. But yeah, we enjoy it.
And to have a jam blick to put on the exhaust. I've learned stuff. Okay, there's not a jam blick here, but thank you so much. And keep up the good work. And it's vital. And yes, thank you.
Pleasure.
Thanks for sharing. Cheers.
Bye.
Diane Donald, you're from the George Rotary Club and you run the beer garden. What's it been like for you guys? No, ladies first.
This has been absolutely outstanding. You know, this is one of our best fundraising projects. When we're looking for volunteers from the Rotary Club to get involved in a fundraising project, yeah, we are inundated with volunteers. It is absolutely amazing. And the camaraderie, the public, the whole atmosphere around here is absolutely fantastic for George. George thrives on this old car show project.
Let's just take a step back, Donald, and what is Rotary Club all about?
Well, Rotary, it's a bunch of like-minded individuals who have put the community first, and we have lots of fun, but we raise money for charity and for community projects, and Rotary has the ability to upscale the money that we raise in events like this through the International Rotary group, and we're able to take the money we have here and sometimes increase it tenfold. So we've done projects here in George with a couple of million rand into the George Hospital, Bethesda, which is a home for a hospice and home for poor people hospital. We've spent about 800,000 rand there 2 or 3 years ago. We're very, very involved in the last 2 years in feeding people. We've started a whole lot of food gardens. We're teaching people how to do the food gardens, and we're making sure that it's sustainable.
And in order to do all of that, you raise funds, and hence the involvement in events like the Rotary Club.
Absolutely. No, yeah, we do. Our big thing is we've got to raise funds. We depend on the public. We depend on the generosity of the public and corporates and different companies. And yeah, that's how Rotary works. 100% of what we raise goes to the charity.
Because you guys all volunteer.
Yes, total volunteer. We're all volunteers. And we must say, particularly for this show, that breweries have been absolutely amazing. They support us 100%, and we're very, very grateful because it gives us the opportunity to raise the funds. And yeah, without them, we'd battle.
I think without breweries, a lot of people battle.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, on a serious note, how many beers have you sold over the 2 days here?
It's difficult to give numbers now, but we probably will have sold about 100,000 rands worth of beer. And what we do with that is that we share the profits between the Old Car Club and ourselves, and then the Old Car Club then gives the money back to us, and we share it onwards to other charities. So everything we make here is either donated by Rotary or by the Old Car Club, and we typically will donate to NSRI, and we'll put money into our own projects. In previous years, we've bought a boat for Wilderness NSRI, for example. And that's
not a small amount of money.
That was somewhere around 500,000 odd rand. We refurbished the boat about 3 or 4 years ago I can't remember the money offhand, but it was a lot of money.
Now, diet technology moves on. And, you know, coming to a place where one needs to buy beer to support the community, you need machines. Have you finally come to peace with using a card machine?
I have certainly come to peace, and thanks for bringing that up, because at first I thought it was going to be a tedious, time-filling thing, but I'll tell you something, I've mastered it. There's nothing that us girls can't master if we put our mind to it. So right, modern technology, having the card machine here at the pub has certainly made a difference.
And you've made a difference in people's life. As you said when we came in here, everybody who walks in here suddenly starts smiling. And it's something I've noticed at this George Old Car Club, the camaraderie, the happiness. It's absolutely amazing.
Well, this is George and particular Wilderness. We just have the most stunning people living down here, and it's just the right place to be. Wilderness is definitely the place to be. George is stunning, and we're looking very forward to an influx of people coming down here and living the life down here. This is the place to be.
It's an absolutely happy place, and it's been a magnificent 2 days of old cars, memories that come flooding back, goosebumps, and total joy in amongst the community. And I've got to thank the crew who's been involved here, and in particular the invitation from the George Old Car Club to come down and be involved and try and bring some of the passion of this event and some of the love of petrol-headedness and the fuel and the passion that just makes me smile and bring that to you. And on that note, join us next year, because right now my work is done, and in order to support the community and the Rotary Club, I say to you and to the Rotary Club, cheers, be back next year, and thank you.